Chapter 3471. Lu Li's feeling was accurate. The Lu family was having a hard time. Not only the Lu family, but the entire Grim Reaper was having a hard time. The Grim Reaper had been suppressed. 2 years ago, the Gui clan, the Hu clan, the Langding clan, and 5 or 6 other large clans joined forces to suppress the Grim Reaper. Many of the Grim Reaper's assassins were killed, and many of its branches were destroyed. Now it could only hide near the Tianyue boundary. 2 years ago, a young master of the Gui clan died, young Master Wei. That was right. He was the young Master Wei that Lu Li captured years ago. He was Lady Yuan's cousin and a disciple of the Duans. This young Master Wei had a conflict with the son of one of the Grim Reaper's branch leaders. Young Master Wei had mobilized experts to destroy that branch, then raped the branch leader's wife and daughter, leaving their corpses in the wilderness. This incident infuriated the Ace Grim Reaper, who happened to be nearby. He didn't report it to the Grim Reaper's headquarters and went straight to the door, risking his life to kill young Master Wei. In the end, he was also killed by a powerful Gui. Compared to young Master Wei's life, a trump card Grim Reaper's life was still somewhat lacking. The Gui race was furious. They sent word for the 9 leaders of the God of Death to go to the Gui race and give them an explanation. In this matter, young Master Wei was in the wrong. But who asked young Master Wei to be a direct descendant of the Gui clan? The Guis were the overlords of the chaotic starfields. As an overlord, dignity was naturally the most important. If anyone could kill a Gui young master, then the Gui race's overlord status would naturally be lost. Therefore, even if young Master Wei was in the wrong, the Gui had to suppress the Grim Reaper. Speaking of which, the root cause of all this was Lu Li. Back then, Lu Li had captured young Master Wei. The news was accidentally spread among the Guis. Young Master Wei became the laughing stock of the Guis. Over the years, he could not hold his head high. His status in the family had been declining. Young Master Wei had led a bitter life these past few years, so he was naturally dissatisfied with Lu Li and the Grim Reaper. Now that Lu Li had gone to the Immortal Region, he had no way to vent his anger. After the conflict with the son of the Death God Division's branch leader, the rage that he had suppressed for many years completely erupted, which led to the subsequent events. Regardless of whether it was right or wrong, things had already happened, and the Gui race needed face. Having the 9 great leaders go to the Gui race to give them an explanation was a face they needed. Would the 9 magnates dare to go? They didn't dare, and they weren't willing either, because if they did, they would lose all of Death's face. What if the Gui race set up an ambush and kill them all? When the time limit didn't come, the Gui clan joined forces with the Hu clan, the Lang clan, and a few other large clans to seal the Grim Reaper. They did not dare to start an all-out war with the Grim Reaper. They were afraid that the Grim Reaper would do something desperate, so they first sealed the area and cleared out the Grim Reaper on the outside, forcing the Grim Reaper to shrink its defenses. Then, they would see how they could make the Grim Reaper lower its head. The Gui tribe didn't want to destroy the Grim Reaper completely. They just wanted to make the Grim Reaper lower his head and maintain his position as the overlord of the chaotic starfields. Kill 3,000 enemies, but suffer 800 casualties. The Gui race believed that if they attacked with all their might, they might be able to destroy the Grim Reaper. However, half of the Gui race's clansmen and experts would die. At that time, the Gui race's position as the overlord might not be guaranteed. The Hu race, Lang Ting race, and some other races were involved. Their intentions were clear. Those races either hated Lu Li or the God of Death. As soon as the Guam race sent the message, they responded immediately. Therefore, Grim Reaper had been having a hard time recently. Almost all of the peripheral branches had been destroyed, and the rest had retreated to the Heavenly Crossing boundary. In this purge, hundreds of thousands of Grim Reaper's killers were killed, including some of the Lu Alliance's disciples. As the Grim Reaper was having a hard time, so was the Lu family. The 9 powerful warriors of the Grim Reaper said nothing, but some patriarchs vented their anger on the Lu family. If it were not for the fact that Lu Li had offended young Master Wei, he wouldn't have been in this mess. The Hu race and the Lang Ting race were also messed with by Lu Li. Some patriarchs of the Grim Reaper were not happy with Lu Li, such as the patriarch of the Li family. Lu Li's status in the immortal region was unknown. Who could tell if he could come back alive? What was more, Mo Qianqian and Luan Xu were not here. The other patriarchs could not help the Lu family. Fortunately, they were united against foreign enemies. The 9 powerful warriors didn't say anything, and the patriarchs didn't cross the line. The Lu family could survive. Lu Mansion, Heavenly Crossing City. A patriarch of the Yin family hurried in. Lu Ling, the crippled Zen master, Lu Renhuang, and Yin Qingxi were sitting in the hall. All the higher-ups of the Lu Alliance were gathered here. The patriarch of the Yin family came in, bowed, and said with a bitter smile, "The Li family has sent word that they want to form a marriage alliance with the Lu Alliance. Their second young master, Li Gu, said he wants to marry Lady Ling. No way." Lu Renhuang jumped to his feet and snorted. That foppish playboy of the Li family who only knows how to enjoy himself wants to marry Ling? He is delusional. We will not compromise even if we have to fight to the last man. Father, you are right. Yin Qingxi nodded and said, I don't think this is the idea of the progenitor of the Li family. It must be the idea of that old man, Li Guding. He has always been unhappy with our husband, so he is venting his anger on us. When our husband comes back, we will see how he dies. The crippled Zen master thought about it and said, judging by the situation, we need to prepare a way out. I am afraid that something will go wrong if we stay at the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper is in a serious situation. The 9 powerful warriors don't care about our lives. One wrong move, and the Lu Alliance will be wiped out. The thing is, Xiang Linglong looked solemn. She said, the periphery is locked down. If we leave now, we will be intercepted and killed immediately. What is more, the Li family will not let us go. Even if they don't go after us, they will tell the Guis about us. We cannot go out. Lu Ling, who had been silent, said, let the disciples of the Lu Alliance sneak into the universe controlled by the Yu family. It will be safer this way. The assassins of the Li family will not dare to do anything to the Yu family. As for us, we will stay at the Tianyue city under the nose of the 9 powerful warriors. I don't think the Li family will do anything. We are facing a formidable enemy. If Li Gu does anything rash, the progenitor of the Li family will be furious. Alas, this is the only way. Lu Renhuang sighed. He felt he was a small boat in a stormy sea that could capsize at any time. He rubbed his forehead and said, we should have stayed at the Central King universe. At least, we don't have to worry about these things over there. Alas, that is not the case. Over there, the disciples of the Lu Alliance are just small fish in a pond. They will never grow up and become a major family in this world. Never mind. Life and death are predestined. Wealth and honor are determined by heaven. I wonder when her husband will come back. Qi Ding Dong was a simple-minded person who would not overthink. She just felt that everything could be solved when Lu Li came back. For her, Lu Li was a towering tree. As long as he was here, the world would not collapse. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Right at this moment, 2 silhouettes hurriedly walked in. Everyone's gaze swept over and discovered that they had actually brought in an elder of the Mo clan. This patriarch was at the later stage of the Saint King realm. Lu Renhuang hurried to greet him with the other powerful warriors. That patriarch chatted with them for a while with a smile. Then, he suddenly asked Lu Ling to activate the divine rune. After that, he said, I have just received a message from our young lady. Inspector Lu is back. What? The entire hall was filled with excitement. Those who were frowning a moment ago were beaming with joy. They were all smiles and excited. Qi Ding Dong was crying her eyes out. Everyone, the patriarch of the Mo family said again. Inspector Lu asked me to send you a message. He has a basic grasp of the situation. Don't worry. Everything is under his control. Just wait for him to deal with it. Master 3. Chapter 3472. Lu Li had learned about the situation. They had returned to the Chaotic Star region and were hiding in a universe. Lu Li told the warriors to wait in the mountain while he sneaked into the city with Mo Qianqian to gather information. He felt a little uneasy, so he wanted to find out more information first. Sure enough, there was a problem with this investigation. The Gui clan had completely sealed off the Grim Reaper. The armies of several major clans had been mobilized, numbering in the tens of millions. They surrounded the hundreds of domains near the Tianhua boundary and sealed off the void there. The anger of the Gui clan shook the entire heavenly chaotic star area. Most of the chaotic star fields had quieted down, and all eyes were on the Grim Reaper. Some tribes even wanted to join the team to kill the Grim Reaper. It was the best way to take advantage of the situation. The Grim Reaper had offended countless large clans over the years because their mission was to assassinate. Did they need to assassinate small clans? Missions were issued to deal with powerhouses that they couldn't deal with. Only then would they borrow the power of the Grim Reaper. The Death God was in a very difficult situation. The Gui race was determined to make the Death God bow his head. If the Death God did not bow his head, a great war might break out. This was because as time passed, more and more great races would stand out. Once there were enough great races, the Gui race would calculate their gains and losses and have enough confidence in killing the Death God. Then, they would definitely take action. The reason why the Gui race did not dare to launch an all-out attack was because they were afraid that they would be bitten instead. If that happened, the Gui race would also suffer heavy casualties. If a few more large clans joined in, the Gui clan would definitely make their move. Luli was not in a hurry when he heard the news. At the very least, the Guis had not taken action yet. Therefore, he still had time to plan. In his heart, he was already a part of the Grim Reaper. The Lu family was also part of the Grim Reaper. If the Gui race suppressed the Grim Reaper, it was the same as suppressing the Lu family. Since the Grim Reaper could no longer survive, the Lu family could no longer stay in the Chaotic Star region. Luli was back, and he could take the Lu family away at any time. But Luli would not admit defeat so easily. Speaking of which, the cause of this chaotic war was because of him. It was because he had offended young Master Wei in the past. Perhaps Miss Yuan had also played a part in it. Therefore, he was duty-bound to resolve this crisis. After gathering some information in the city, he asked Mo Qianqian to send a message back through a special channel to reassure the Lu family. He then asked Mo Qianqian to contact the Mo family to get accurate information. After they got the information, they went back to the hill outside the city. Little White and the others were sitting there, bored. They were cheered up as soon as Luli came back. "Boss," Xiaobai came over excitedly and asked, "What are we doing here? Were you going to meet that Grim Reaper?" "I'm afraid I have to apologize this time." Luli smiled bitterly. "There's a situation with the Grim Reaper. I need some time to deal with it. So, Little Bai, Miss Sure, why don't you return to the Immortal Region? There's nothing fun here." "What?" Xiao Bai's eyes bulged, and he said with some dissatisfaction, "Boss, what are you talking about? Have you ever treated me as a brother? If you do this again, I will be angry. Am I here to play? You're telling us to go back when you're in trouble? What kind of logic is that?" "They're not the same thing," Luli said with a smile. "This is a matter of the Chaotic Star region. Of course, we will deal with it. Your status is special. If you get involved in this matter, you might bring unnecessary trouble to the Dongwon. And I can handle it, believe me." "What kind of trouble?" Xiao Bai's eyes bulged again, and he said, "Is it as big as the Origin Realm? What trouble can there be in this small Chaotic Star region? How dare they do anything to me? I don't care if you can handle it or not. You must count me in, or we will break off our friendship." Seeing how angry Little White was, Luli had to force a smile and said, Okay, you can do it. But you have to listen to me. Don't do anything stupid. Do you understand?" Yes. Little White beamed from ear to ear. He put his arm around Luli's shoulder and said with a smile, "We are brothers and we will fight together. This is a small Chaotic Star region. We will sweep across it." Luli was speechless. Even after thousands of years, Xiao Bai would still be like this. Luli turned to Qi Sure and said, "Miss Sure, I am sorry. We don't have time to play this time. Several forces are attacking the one I am in. This battle may take some time. I will have to disappoint you, Miss Sure." "Ha." Qi Sure smiled and said, "I am not here for fun. We all need to gain experience and grow." Young Master Xiao Bai and I want to become realm kings. We cannot grow in a greenhouse. We need to fight step by step. Count me in as well. I'll just hide my identity, and this matter won't affect my clan in any way. The Chanchan family's business is my business. Miss Shershire, you are a good man. Before Luli could say anything, Xiaobai gave him a thumbs up. For him, the more powerful Lu Li was, the better. Qi Shershire had 3 powerful warriors who were close to the consummate realm and 1 at the consummate realm. This was a powerful force. Young Master Xiaobai, you are too kind, Qi Shershire said with a smile. Young Master Xiaobai, you are such a loyal man. I learned this from you. Boss, did you see that? Xiaobai sent a secret message to Lu Li. There is something wrong with this Qi Shershire. He must like you. Otherwise, why would he help you for no reason? You have to be careful. The heavenly charm Immortal Fox clan is very perverted. Don't get bewitched by her, or your soul will be gone. Lu Li rolled his eyes. After some thoughts, he sent a message. Little White, what if Qi Shershire likes you? What if he is helping me because of you? If he likes you, do you want to think about it seriously? Me? Xiaobai paused for a second and then said in a sneaky way, Boss, forget it. I don't like her. She's just a beast. No matter how pretty she is still a beast. I want to marry a beautiful human girl. No. Lu Li was speechless. He couldn't help but remind him, Little Bai, don't forget that you are a beast as well. Technically speaking, you and Qi Shershire are of the same race. How can you talk about Lady Shershire like this? I think Shershire is good. She suits you. No. Xiaobai waved his hand and said, I don't like immortal beasts. I like humans. No immortal beasts, no matter how pretty they are. Boss, don't worry about this. I will find you a beautiful wife later. Okay. Lu Li didn't want to worry anymore. He waved his hand and said, Enough with the thanks. Let's go. We will sneak back to the headquarters of the God of Death and find out the situation before we let go. Since the Gue race wants to play, then we will play with them. Go. Xiaobai was the kind of person who craved for the world to be in chaos. He waved his hand and said, Let's kill that Gue race. Boss, we will help you unify the chaotic universe and make you the overlord here. Ha. Master 3. Chapter 3473. The God of Death had taken over hundreds of galaxies. However, those galaxies were not the core of the God of Death. Apart from the higher-ups of the God of Death, no other forces knew where the real headquarters of the God of Death was. But over the years, the God of Death was not like an organization of assassins. Instead, it was more like a major force. Those few hundred realms were doing quite well. If they were captured, the Grim Reaper would have no choice but to hide in a dark corner. That would be a heavy blow to the God of Death. 7 or 8 major races mobilized tens of millions of warriors to surround the hundreds of universes. Armies and powerful warriors were stationed outside the universes controlled by the God of Death. In the void, there were battleships everywhere as well. As a matter of fact, the tens of millions of warriors could not really seal off this place. After all, the void was vast. Even a Saint King proficient in stealth could pass through, let alone a warrior close to the perfect realm. The purpose of the encirclement was to put pressure on the God of Death. At the same time, it could attract more races that hated the God of Death to join the cause. When the God of Death was surrounded, the God of Death would lose its reputation and morale would drop. More than 2 months passed, and as expected, another large race called the U race joined. This large race was similar to the Hu race, and they had 8 powerhouses who were infinitely close to the great perfection stage. A few thousand years ago, an elder had been assassinated by the Grim Reaper. The U race mobilized millions of warriors and 5 warriors close to the perfect realm to the periphery of the God of Death. They were stationed at the He-Man region, the temporary headquarters of the God of Death. Patriarchs of the Guam race and patriarchs of the Hu race and the Langding race were all here. The Guam race sent 13 patriarchs, and all of them were close to the perfect realm. It was said that one of their great patriarchs was here as well, a warrior at the perfect realm. Of course, this powerful warrior never showed up. No one knew if he was here or not. Warriors at the perfect realm were at the peak of the chaotic star region. Warriors at the perfect realm had the dignity of supreme warrior. They would not attack warriors below the perfect realm easily. The Guam race was already strong, and they had mobilized so many other races. If they were to send out warriors at the perfect realm, it would be degrading themselves and overestimating the god of death. Luli spent more than 2 months and had secretly arrived. They were hiding in a region not far away from the Heyman region. There were millions of warriors stationed there and 2 warriors close to the perfect realm. Given Luli's means, average warriors would not be able to find them. Luli had not put them into his interspatial artifact, or else he would have been able to do whatever he wanted. When they arrived, a patriarch of the Mo family was already waiting for them. Mo Qianqian sent a message for him to come over. Instead of asking Lu Li and the others to investigate, they might as well ask the higher-ups of the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper was an assassin organization. Naturally, their intelligence work wouldn't be bad. They probably already knew everything about this place. Greetings, Patrol Inspector. Greetings, Miss. Greetings, my lords. Mo Yinshan, the patriarch of the Mo family, noticed that there were 10 warriors standing behind Lu Li and Mo Qianqian, who were very close to the consummate realm. Lord Yu and the other warriors were powerful as the most powerful warriors of the 9. The 9 powerful warriors were the most powerful warriors of the Grim Reaper. Now, behind Lu Li stood 10 warriors who were infinitely close to the consummate level. How could Mo Yinshan not be shocked? You're welcome. Lu Li waved his hand and asked, what is the current situation? Is everything all right in Tianyuan City? Does the Grim Reaper have any internal rules? How is the Lu Alliance doing? Mo Yinshan thought about it and said, the situation is not good. Everyone in the Grim Reaper is in a state of panic. More than half of the branches outside have been destroyed. Apart from some scouts, the rest of the Grim Reaper have been called back. The Grim Reaper is not stable as well. The pressure from the outside is too great. After all, the Gue race is the overlord with 2 consummate warriors. There are 2 ideas in the Grim Reaper. The first is to lower their heads and show a gesture to satisfy the Gue race. In this way, the Gue race will retreat. After all, the Gue race will suffer heavy casualties if they really fight against the Grim Reaper. The second idea is to fight to the bitter end and give up the hundreds of universes. All the Grim Reaper will spread out and hide in the chaotic star region. Then, they will continue to assassinate the major races until the Gue race and the other races admit defeat. In that case, both sides will suffer. The Grim Reaper will lose at least 70% of its strength. Basically, the Lu Alliance is fine. Most of the disciples of the Lu Alliance have gone to the universes controlled by the Yu family. But that foppish second young master of the Li family has taken a fancy to Lady Ling and wants to propose marriage. But your father has turned him down. Li Guding wants to take the chance to suppress the Lu family. As long as the Lu family doesn't leave the Tianyuan city, Li Guding will not do anything. Mo Yinshan explained the situation in one breath. Before Lu Li could say anything, Little White flew into a rage. His eyes popped out and he said with killing intent, what the hell? Someone is bullying Sister Ling? How dare he? Boss, don't worry about this. Let's go to the Tianyuan city first and kill that Gu Ding family. As far as Little White was concerned, the chaotic star region was like the countryside. The powerful warriors here were nothing but trash to him. He grew up with Lu Li and Lu Ling. To him, Lu Ling was his sister. He would kill the entire family of anyone that dared to bully Lu Ling. Whitey was an expert that was infinitely close to the great perfection realm. The killing intent on its body was very thick, and its anger scared Mo Yinshan. Mo Yinshan looked at Little White in fear. Which family was this young master from? He was so violent that he would kill entire families at the drop of a hat. Li Guding family was the most powerful warrior of the Grim Reaper. Wiping out the Li family was no different from wiping out the Grim Reaper. Little White, don't be impatient. Lu Li waved his hand and said, they won't do anything in the Tianyuan city. As soon as I make a move, the 9 warriors of the Grim Reaper will protect the Lu family for me. There is no hurry. When we are done here, we will go back and find the second young master of the Li family. Since nothing happened before, nothing would happen now that they were back. At the very least, the Mo family would help the Lu family. When Mo Yinshan went back, he would report to the progenitor warrior of the Mo family at once. The progenitor warrior of the Mo family would protect the Lu family. Xiaobai puffed out a breath of air and glared at Mo Yinshan. Lu Li asked something else. Tell me about the powerful warriors out there. How many powerful warriors of the Dun race, Hu race, and Langding race are here? Where are they located? Are there any at the Consummate Realm? Even though the Dun race had 2 at the Consummate Realm, Lu Li was not afraid because there were 2 on his side as well. What was more, given Little White and Qi Shi, even the clan leader of the Dun race would cower in fear. Therefore, as long as Lu Li knew the distribution of the enemies, he could take actions. Once he killed most of the powerful warriors that were close to the Consummate Realm, the crisis would be over. Warriors of the Consummate Realm wouldn't do anything to Lu Li and Little White. Even if there were, Lord Yin and the others wouldn't sit around and do nothing. Therefore, Lu Li was confident. He didn't want to use too many tricks. One word, kill. Third Master. Chapter 3474. The Grim Reaper's intelligence network had always been strong. He had a clear picture of the enemy's strength distribution. As a patriarch, Mo Yinshan was well aware of this. Tens of millions of warriors were not a big deal. For powerful warriors, hundreds of millions wouldn't matter. Given enough time, they could kill them all. The key was the powerful warriors. The Gue race had sent 13 warriors close to the absolute perfection. The Hu race had sent 7. The Yu race had sent 5, and the Langding race had 4. Including the warriors from other races, there were about 40 in total. Half of the warriors were guarding in groups of 2. For example, the universe they were in had 2 warriors close to the absolute perfection. As for whether there were any warriors at the absolute perfection, it was hard to say. It was said that one of the Gue race had come, but never showed up. Lu Li took out a map and circled the universes with powerful warriors. He thought for a while and said, should we split into 3 groups? Attack the 3 universes separately? Kill 6 or 8 of them that are close to the absolute perfection first. Lu Li pointed to 3 universes that were further away from them and said, then we will ambush their reinforcements on the way. I think they will send out at least 10 powerful warriors after we attack. We will kill all of them. Once we kill them, the Grim Reaper will take action. With our combined efforts, we can solve the encirclement. Unless the Gue race sends out warriors at the absolute perfection. But under normal circumstances, they won't be so shameless as long as it doesn't affect the fundamental interests of the Gue race. So what if they mobilize paragons? Little White said carelessly, there are strong and weak ones at the absolute perfection as well. A strong one can defeat 2 or even kill them within a few moves. If they don't send out warriors at the absolute perfection, fine. But if they do, Mo Yinshan looked at Little White in surprise again. Was this a young master from a major family in the immortal region? How could he be so arrogant as to look down on warriors at the absolute perfection of the Gue race? Pointing to the universe, Lu Li said, Little White, take Lord Yu with you and attack this universe. Miss Shi, please lead the experts to attack this realm. I'll attack this realm alone. Boss, let Uncle Yu go with you. Little White said carelessly, I can kill those 2 good-for-nothings on my own. Why should I take so many powerful warriors with me? All right, Lu Li didn't want to argue. Qi Shi said with a smile, I have no problem. Just 2 warriors that are very close to the completion. I promise we can finish the task. All right then. Lu Li waved his hand and said, when we are done, we will gather at this place. Qian, you go back to the Tianyue city with Patriarch Mo. I need you to provide me with accurate information about the reinforcements from the enemy. Tell the King of Wings that I, Lu Li, will deal with this by myself. But if anyone dares to bully my Lu family, I will definitely take revenge. Mo Qian really wanted to fight with Lu Li, but considering that she wasn't strong enough, she would only be a burden. It would be better for her to go back and coordinate with the Grim Reaper and provide Lu Li with accurate information. After the discussion, everyone went their separate ways. This place was sealed off, but for the powerful warriors, it didn't make any difference. For Lu Li, it was as easy as walking on flat ground. Lord Yu and Lu Li traveled together. After a while, Lord Yu said, "Lu, take me with you. I don't want to go and explore. Nobody can find you on the traceless path. It is safe enough." "Okay, thank you for your trust, Lord Yu." Lu Li nodded and put Lord Yu away. Then, he released the traceless path and flew toward the Seven Stars universe. His targets were the two powerful warriors that were almost at the absolute completion of the Seven Stars universe. After flying for half a month, Lu Li arrived at the Seven Stars universe. He didn't let Lord Yu out in a hurry. Instead, he went to check on the two powerful warriors by himself. "Lord Yu, here is the situation." Lu Li let Lord Yu out and told him about the situation. Then, Lu Li said, "I will sneak in and do a sneak attack. You stay outside and attract their attention. If I can kill them instantly, then everything will be fine. But if I can't, Lord Yu, please help me." "Okay." Lord Yu nodded. He had observed Lu Li's previous fights, and he admired Lu Li's traceless path. Warriors that were almost at the absolute completion of the Seven Stars universe could not detect Lu Li. Lord Yu would distract the two powerful warriors. Lu Li could kill Lord Yu in a sneak attack. Even if Lord Yu could survive Lu Li's horrifying flames, he could end the fight easily. As he had expected, Lu Li went into the city disguised as a warrior and hid in the city. Lord Yu flew to the sky above the city, which alerted the two powerful warriors. Lord Yu was so powerful that the two powerful warriors were distracted by him. Lu Li suddenly appeared behind them and released his black flames. The two powerful warriors were burned to death at once. Lu Li's flames were horrifying. Though he released them in midair, many warriors in the city were burned to death. Many warriors were screaming in pain. The city had turned into a living hell. "Let's go," Lu Li said and sneaked away. Lord Yu, on the other hand, poured out a ray of light and destroyed the entire city. Over 100,000 warriors in the city were killed. The merciful do not command soldiers. Our situation is not exposed. This will be beneficial to our future operation. Lord Yu said coldly. Lu Li didn't say anything. The city was full of warriors. It didn't matter if they died. They left this universe at ease and flew toward the Nine Battles universe next to the Seven Stars universe. When they arrived at the Nine Battles universe, Little White and Qi Shishir were already there. Judging from Little White's proud look, they must have accomplished their mission easily. Little White's skills were powerful, and it was accompanied by 4 warriors that were almost at the perfect realm. It was easy for Little White to kill 2 powerful warriors. Qi Shishir, as the future family patriarch of the Xian realm, had 3 warriors that were as powerful as Lord Yu. It was not hard for them to kill 2 powerful warriors. "Boss," Xiao Bai said proudly, "you guys are too slow. Shishir and I killed 2 of the strongest people in the 9 heavens world. Shishir is powerful. In one move, she killed a powerful warrior that was almost at the perfect realm." Lu Li was surprised. He gave Little White a thumbs up and expressed his gratitude. He said, "Let's wait here and see what the Duan race will do before we take action." Whoosh! In merely 5 days, a man found them easily. Lu Li checked and found out that it was Emperor Yin. Emperor Yin had come in person to deliver the message. "Inspector Lu." Emperor Yin greeted Lu Li with a smile. Then he bowed to Little White and Qi Shishir and said, "I am Emperor Yin, the patriarch of the Grim Reaper. Young Master Little White, Lady Shishir, and lords. Thank you all for your help this time. The 9 leaders of my clan are deeply grateful." Little White and Qi Shishir nodded. Lu Li did not reminisce about the past. He asked directly, "What is the situation over there? Is there any information?" "Yes," Emperor Yin answered with a smile. "They have 13 powerful warriors that are almost at the perfect realm. There are only 10 powerful warriors left in the Hera realm. Our 9 leaders have decided to attack the Hera realm. Please hold them off for a while." 13? Little White said carelessly. Okay, you don't have to worry about this. We will take care of it. After this, I will go to the Tianjue city and cut off the head of that bastard that bullied my sisterling. Master 3. Chapter 3475. The 8 ultimate powerhouses have been killed almost at the same time. When the temporary command center in Herman Realm received the news, their first reaction was that the Grim Reaper had taken action. Only the leaders of the Grim Reaper could move so quickly and fiercely. Moreover, the 9 magnates had to move out at the same time in order to achieve this efficiency. Therefore, on this side, the 3rd elder of the Gue clan immediately set out with 12 experts, leaving the Hu clan king and the remaining 9 experts to hold the fort here. At the same time, he oversaw all affairs and mobilized the remaining experts as reinforcements. If necessary, he would lead the army to attack the Tianjue boundary. Originally, these matters should have been handled personally by the 3rd elder of the Gue clan, but he was worried that these experts who went to help would be killed, so he had to go personally. After all, the 9 leaders of the Grim Reaper should be in the 9 heavens world. That was the key. It was not just these 13 experts. The remaining experts in other places also rushed toward the 9 Doves realm as fast as they could. They were prepared to kill the 9 leaders of the Grim Reaper god in the 9 Doves realm and solve the problem once and for all. Originally, the Gue race did not want to start a war. They were not ready for an all-out war, but they did not expect the Grim Reaper to act so early. The Gue race naturally had no choice but to fight. If not, those 8 absolute formidable martial artists would have died for nothing. 2 of them were elders of the Gue race. After the 3rd elder of the Gue race made his move, the 9 powerhouses of the Grim Reaper were already on their way to the Hyman realm. Originally, there were differences among the 9 magnates. Some wanted to fight to the death, while others wanted to admit defeat. However, after Mo Chantian went back and explained the situation, the 9 leaders immediately unified their thoughts. The entire Grim Reaper was mobilized and began to counterattack. What kind of joke was this? The young masters of the Eastern region and the Profound region had come, and they were on their side. Most importantly, there were 2 extremely powerful Great Perfection stage cultivators who could also attack at any time. If they still didn't know how to seize this opportunity, then they didn't deserve to be one of the 9 overlords. For the Chaotic Star territory, a place like a king realm was like an ant in the countryside. To the Celestial realm, the Chaotic Sky Star field was a rural area. They were ants in the eyes of the Celestial realm's great clans. The 9 magnates had all been to the Celestial realm. Most of the experts in the Chaotic Star field had been to the Celestial realm. They knew very well how powerful the Celestial realm was. Naturally, they also knew how powerful the king of the Eastern region and the king of the mysterious region were. Especially the king of the Eastern region, who was an incomparably terrifying existence. The young master of the Eastern region and Lu Li were brothers. Not only that, but he had also brought the junior clan chief of the Profound realm with him. The Gue tribe was very strong. They had dozens of warriors who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection realm, and 2 of them were at the Great Perfection realm. They were undoubtedly the overlords of the Chaotic Stars area. However, if such an overlord went to the Immortal region, it could only be considered an ordinary great clan, an existence similar to the Cloud King City's Yin clan. The Yin clan could be considered a great clan in the Immortal realms, but there were many such great clans in the Immortal realms. There were at least 6 or 7 of them in the Eastern region. Would such a powerful clan dare to challenge the realm kings of the Profound realm or the Eastern realm? They could be pinned to the ground in minutes. The young master of the Eastern region was someone who could do whatever he wanted in the Immortal realm. In the Chaotic Starfield, he could do whatever he wanted. Even if he were to stand in Nightmare City, the main city of the Gue race, as long as he revealed his identity, the Gue race wouldn't dare to attack him even if they had 100 guts. Not to mention that there was a Profound realm young clan head with him. Most importantly, they had brought 2 powerful consummation realm experts with them. Opportunity. The 9 magnates saw a golden path to the sky. As long as they seized this opportunity, The Grim Reaper would stand at the peak of the chaotic starfield. Not to say overlord, but it could at least become one of the top 5 super forces. It would be a transcendent existence that no other forces would dare to touch. The Grim Reaper could finally step out from behind the scenes and stand in the chaotic starfield. After a few more years, it could become the overlord of the chaotic starfield. How could one become an overlord without a consummation realm expert? This was not a problem. As long as they had a relationship with the king of the Eastern region, the king of the Eastern region would be their backer. With the support of the king of the Eastern region, which consummation realm expert in the chaotic starfield would dare to touch them, the entire Grim Reaper began to move. The 9 magnates all set out, targeting the Heyman realm. In this battle, they were prepared to make a name for themselves. They wanted to injure the Gue race and strike fear into the hearts of the entire chaotic starfield. They wanted to create a safe space for the Grim Reaper to develop for the next few thousand years. The 9 magnates had a very powerful joint attack formation. When they worked together, they were not afraid of the consummation realm experts. The Heyman realm only had 10 warriors that were infinitely close to the consummation realm. Therefore, the Grim Reaper was confident that they could win. They might not be able to kill the 10 warriors, but at least they could kill more than half of the Heyman realm without losing one of their own. On the other hand, Lu Li and the others were waiting at the Big Dipper universe. The Grim Reaper was on the move, so there was no need to worry about intelligence. Now that Emperor Yin was here in person, the whereabouts of the 13 powerful warriors would be tracked at all times. Everything was under control. Soon, 10 days passed. Lu Li and the others made their move. It was not third patriarch of the Gue race. It was reinforcement from nearby. There were 5 warriors that were infinitely close to the consummation realm, secretly gathered nearby. They were waiting for third patriarch of the Gue race to come so that they could attack together. Lu Li, Little White, Chi Sure, and the others charged over. They did not need to use any tricks. The 5 powerful warriors were hiding in a nearby universe. They were taken aback to see Lu Li and the others descending from the sky. You are not the 9 magnates of the Grim Reaper? Who are you? A patriarch of the Gue race shouted in surprise. Then he shouted, I am the 17th patriarch of the Gue race, Si Yun. May I ask where you are from? The Gue race has no quarrel with you. Why are you attacking us? As soon as the patriarch finished his words, another patriarch of the Hu race next to him said with a bitter smile, the white-haired one is Lu Li. Lu Li, inspector of the Grim Reaper? The patriarch of the Gue race was taken aback. Then he made up his mind and said, Inspector Lu, did you invite these powerful warriors over? We do not have to fight to the death with the Grim Reaper. We can talk. If you insist on attacking, then the Gue race will fight you to the death. Shut up, Little White said angrily. Waving his hand, he said, attack. Leave no one alive. Buzzing, surprisingly, the first one to make a move was Chi Sure. She flew up into the air like a graceful butterfly and began to dance in the air. Her movements were graceful and her movements were moving. Her dance attracted the attention of all the powerful warriors. The scenery around them seemed to have changed as well. Below them was a boundless sea. In the distance, a bright moon slowly rose. All the formidable martial artists and soldiers nearby felt as if they had disappeared. Only this extremely beautiful lady was left dancing under the moonlight. No, this is a skill of soul. The patriarch of the Gue race shouted. The other powerful warriors came back to their senses, but it seemed that it was too late. This was because they discovered that there were fierce attacks coming from all directions. Moreover, the power of these attacks was extremely terrifying, much stronger than their own. It was 10 against 5. Lord Yu and the others were powerful, far more powerful than the 5 powerful warriors. The 5 of them were under the influence of Chi Sure's enchantment. It was not hard to imagine the result. Chapter 3476. Yin Yun and the others are dead. In the void, a warship broke through the air. There were 13 experts standing on the deck of the warship. At this moment, a white-bearded old man in a luxurious robe suddenly spoke. A few jade talismans in his hand were broken. When the experts around heard this, their expressions changed drastically. Not long ago, 8 supreme experts had died. Now, the 5 reinforcements were also dead. The 5 of them had been ordered to lurk nearby. How could they be killed so easily? 8 had died before, and now 5 had died. In total, there were 13 of them. Now, there are only 13 of them. Could they win if they went over? What if they went over and died too? Of these 13 experts, only 3 were from the Gui race. The rest were the elders of the Hu race, Lang Ding race, Yu race, and other major races. Their race was not as big as the Gui race. They had dozens of experts who were infinitely close to the great perfection realm. The death of a few wouldn't hurt their foundation. For example, the Yu race had a total of 8 supreme experts. This time, they sent 5. Now, one of them was dead. The remaining 4 were here. If all 4 of them died, the Yu race would immediately suffer a great loss. The strength of the race would plummet, and they would be reduced to a small race. Therefore, apart from the Gui race, the rest of the experts were nervous. The main reason was that the Grim Reaper's counterattack was too sharp. They were caught unprepared. They felt that they were not on the same level. Just like this time, if 1 or 2 of the 5 supreme experts could escape, they wouldn't be so panicked. But now, all 5 of them were dead. This made them feel that the Grim Reaper was unfathomable. One of the Yu race's experts said, "Third Elder, could it be that one of the Grim Reaper's leaders has broken through the great perfection realm?" "Impossible," the Third Elder said with absolute certainty. "We have a spy inside the Grim Reaper. If there was a leader breaking through the great perfection realm, it would be impossible to hide it from us. And have you forgotten? Half of the heavenly chaotic star field would have sensed it. How could he break through without anyone noticing? Then it is not the great perfection realm." An elder of the Hu race said, "Could it be that the Grim Reaper has called for reinforcements? Are there any movements from those major clans?" The Mastiffs were the overlords of the chaotic starfields. There were 4 other tribes under the Mastiffs. These 4 tribes were also very powerful. They all had cultivators at the great perfection realm, and many of them were infinitely close to it. If one of these tribes joined them, then what happened before could be easily explained. "No," the Third Elder said with certainty. "Before we started this, our clan had already informed them and secretly monitored them. So far, these clans had not made any moves. In fact, these clans are also somewhat disgusted with the Death God because the Death God's assassins are too difficult to deal with. They don't want the Death God to rise, understand?" One of the experts from the Lang clan asked, "Is it possible that the Grim Reaper defected to one of the major clans in exchange for their absolute support?" The possibility isn't high either. The Third Elder shook his head and said, "First of all, those 4 great clans don't have absolute confidence in fighting against our clan. It's not worth it for a Death God. Secondly, back then, the Grim Reaper was almost annihilated. Our Gui clan and the other large clans all extended an olive branch to them, but they were unwilling to submit. If the Grim Reaper submitted so easily, then they would have lost the fundamental principles that allowed them to live their lives. After all, many Grim Reapers joined us because of the Grim Reaper system." "That's true." All the experts nodded slightly. What the Third Elder said made sense. However, they were still very uneasy because this matter was too strange. Those 13 experts had died too quickly, and not a single one had escaped. They couldn't help but feel uneasy. "Don't worry." The Third Elder pondered for a moment, glanced at one of the cabins, and said, "Our Gu ancestor is here. If there are any unexpected situations, I will ask Gu ancestor to step in." "Huh?" All the experts were stunned, and then their faces lit up with joy. The rumors were true. The Gui clan had placed too much importance on this battle with the Grim Reaper, and a great perfection deity had actually come. Although the Third Elder said that he would only ask Gu ancestor to step in and not necessarily make a move, even if a great perfection deity just stood there and watched, it would still be a huge deterrent. All below the great perfection deity level were ants. This was the confidence of a great perfection deity. A great perfection deity didn't even need to make a move. He could just suppress them with his aura field. Those who were infinitely close to great perfection deity could easily suppress them, and they wouldn't even have the courage to make a move. All the experts didn't think about anything else. Instead, they were looking forward to the upcoming battle. If they could kill the 9 leaders of the Grim Reaper, then the Grim Reaper wouldn't be far from destruction. The enormous wealth that the Grim Reaper had accumulated over the years would make this trip worthwhile. The battleship flew fast for 3 days, and they finally arrived near the 9 Battles world. Many scouts had been mobilized to find out the whereabouts of those mysterious experts. But when they arrived, they didn't need to ask the scouts anymore because there was a battleship outside the 9 Battles world. The battleship's shield was on, and no one could see inside. This battleship looked different from the ones in the heavenly chaotic star field. It seemed to be of a higher level. Buzzing, a cabin door silently opened, and a cool breeze blew it open. Soon, there was no more movement. The 3rd elder bowed slightly. He knew that their Gu ancestor had gone into hiding and didn't want to get involved in the battle. He would only show up if something unexpected happened. Otherwise, the Gu ancestor wouldn't be able to bear the humiliation. The 3rd elder steered the battleship forward and stopped when it was 1,000 miles away from the battleship. The 3rd elder shouted, "Curmudgeonly, come out and meet me." The elders of the foolish tribe of the Hu race were nervous. This was too strange. Why were the 9 leaders waiting for them here? If they weren't crazy, then they must have something to rely on. Buzzing, the shield on the battleship disappeared, revealing a young man and a beautiful lady. Behind them stood 8 experts who were infinitely close to the peak realm. The young man was very handsome, and the woman was as beautiful as a fairy. When the 2 of them stood together, they seemed to be a perfect match, like an immortal couple. The 3rd elder and the other experts glanced at each other, speechless. They didn't know any of the 10 experts. The young man and the lady were too young, but they were also infinitely close to the peak realm. The auras of the 8 experts standing behind them were even more frightening. They were much stronger than most of them. Though the Grim Reaper was good at disguising and hiding, the experts were 100% sure they weren't the 9 leaders in disguise. They had never seen these experts in the heavenly chaotic star field. The 3rd elder hesitated and asked, "I am Mingyu, the 3rd elder of the Gue race. Where are you from? Were our experts killed by you?" The young man was Little White. He glanced at the 3rd elder and said carelessly, "Why do you care where I am from? We did kill your experts. Don't you like it? It doesn't matter. I can do whatever you want." Chapter 3477. Little White's arrogance made the 3rd elder even more nervous. The heavenly chaotic starfield didn't have such a character. The other starfields didn't have such a young elite who was infinitely close to the perfected realm. The Gue clan had collected information on the elites of the other starfields. If they weren't from the 8 starfields, then they must be from the immortal region. Lord Yu and the others were obviously bodyguards. Needless to say, Little White and Chi Shifu were of noble status. The 3rd elder was worried about the young masters and young ladies of the immortal region. If they offended the immortal region, the Gue clan could be exterminated. So the 3rd elder hesitated and said, "Young master, our Gue clan doesn't have any grudges with you. Why would you attack us? Our Gue clan is the #1 clan in the heavenly chaotic starfield, and we have some allies in the immortal region." The meaning of the 3rd elder's words was very clear. They didn't wish to clash with Whitey and the others. Their Gue race also had some strength, and they had allies in the immortal realms. Hence, they told Whitey not to be so rash and to think thrice before acting. Little White didn't seem to care. He waved his hand and said, "The #1 clan in the heavenly chaotic starfield? How domineering. Having allies in the immortal region is scary." He was so scared that his legs were trembling. "Do we have any grudges before? Maybe not before, but now we do. I don't like you. I want to teach your Gue clan a lesson and take your position as the #1 clan in the heavenly chaotic starfield." They were here to pick a fight. The 3rd elder knew there was no way out. He said coldly, "So there's no way to talk?" "Yes," Xiaobai said lightly. "All of you kneel down for me, and I will spare your lives. Kill. The third elder roared. As the overlords of the heavenly chaotic starfield, they had never been humiliated like this. Even though White E's origins were mysterious, he had no choice but to fight to the death. Kill. The Eastern King's saber appeared in Little White's hand, and he dashed forward. Once again, Chi-Shir flew up into the sky and danced in the air, releasing the innate ability of the heavenly charm Celestial Fox, the heavenly fox charming dance. Chi-Shirfu was different from ordinary immortal foxes. She was a heavenly enchantment immortal fox that only appeared once every 100,000 years in the Immortal Fox clan. Her innate divine abilities were much more powerful. When the experts saw the bright moon rising from the sea, they all felt that something was wrong. The Gue race's third elder roared, "Be careful. This is a soul sacred art." Boom! When they came to their senses, a treasured pagoda smashed into them. The Eastern Emperor pagoda lit up, radiating rays of light. After that, all the experts felt that they were being suppressed as their speed greatly decreased. Boom, 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 boom. Lord Yu and the others started to attack. The 8 experts were all very strong, and their attacks were very sharp. In just one exchange, although the 13 experts didn't die, they were all injured. He was injured in a single exchange? How were they supposed to play? Although the other side had fewer people, their overall combat strength was more than a level higher than that of the other side. As for the pagoda, the third elder sensed that it was actually a supreme divine weapon. To be able to possess a supreme divine weapon, this meant that Xiaobai's family definitely had a great perfection deity. "Spread out," shouted the third elder. Being suppressed by the light of the pagoda, there was no way they could fight this battle. They had to get away from the pagoda. However, the pagoda suddenly shone brightly, and a powerful suction force came over. The experts couldn't help but fly towards the pagoda. Almost at the same time, a bell-like laughter rang out in the air. Everyone once again saw the bright moon rising above the sea. This time, it was not a young girl dancing, but a young girl running and playing by the seaside. Her bell-like laughter could intoxicate people and make them unable to wake up. Boom, 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 a series of explosions rang out. Following that, the experts felt intense pain in their bodies. 2 of them screamed as they were blasted to death. Experts who were infinitely close to the great perfection deity realm could sometimes fight for months without a victor being decided. But sometimes life and death could be decided in an instant. For example, the experts were being suppressed by Xiaobai's East King Pagoda and Chi-Shirfu's soul attack. They were almost defenseless and were attacked by Lord Yu and the others. Naturally, it was easy for them to die. Buzz, while they were still in shock, black flames burst out from the pagoda and swept over. Due to the strong suction force from the East King Pagoda, the flames were sucked over and the powerful warriors were enveloped. "Oh no, you ancestor! Help!" Third elder screamed out and yelled. Buzzing, it was as if a stone had been thrown into a calm river in the void. Ripples appeared in the space, and they spread out easily like ripples. In an instant, the ripples reached the place where they were. What happened next shocked Lu Li and Lord Yu. After the ripples passed, the black flames died out. Lord Yu's attacks seemed to have been frozen as well. All the warriors could not move at this moment. Great perfection. That was the thought that came to the minds of all the warriors. Only a warrior at the Great Perfection Realm could have such power. Did Third Patriarch call him Ancestor Yu as well? Needless to say, a powerful warrior that Third Patriarch of the Guis called Ancestor Yu must be at the Great Perfection Realm. From the other side of the void came a cold snort. It was like a bolt from the blue. After the snort, all the powerful warriors could move again. The attacks went on toward Third Patriarch and the others. The East King Pagoda glowed again. Buzzing almost at the same time, 2 people appeared on the left and right sides of the pagoda. It was Lord Yun and Ancestor Yu of the Guis. Ancestor Yu looked at Lord Yun with fear and asked, "Are you from the Immortal region? From the Eastern region?" Lord Yun did not answer. Instead, he snorted and said, "How can the Guis be so shameless? How can a great perfection realm warrior attack an average warrior? No wonder the GUIs can only dominate the chaotic star region. Ancestor, you blushed. He said in embarrassment, I did not do anything to them. I just tried to control the situation. Lord Yin said bluntly, then, can I control you as well? Or maybe I can control the GUIs as well. Lord Yin was as arrogant as Little White. As one of the most powerful warriors in the entire immortal region, Lord Yin was confident. This was the pride and arrogance of a powerful warrior. Ancestor, you could feel how powerful Lord Yin was. He asked again with fear, are you from the Eastern region? Ancestor, you knew almost all the peak perfection realm warriors in the 8 galaxies. Even if he had never seen them, he had information about them. Lord Yin should be from the immortal region, and he was a fairy beast. It was very likely that he was from the Eastern region. Also, Little White and Chi Shifu were fairy beasts. So were Master Yu and the others. Naturally, Ancestor, you would be suspicious. Lord Yin said coldly, it does not matter where you are from. What matters is that if you do not get out of my sight in 10 breaths' time, I will send you to hell. You, Ancestor, you was shaking with anger. Ever since he reached the peak perfection realm, no warrior had dared to offend him. Now, he was being told to get out. All of a sudden, his blood boiled and murderous intent surged out of him. He shouted, don't push me too far, or I will take you down with me. Take you down with me? Lord Yin sneered. Are you sure you have the ability to do that? Come on, let me see how you, a stone, are going to take me down with you. Chapter 3478. What was a paragon? It meant that one had cultivated a certain type of nomological law to the extreme, reached the peak, and reached full perfection. He would also receive the recognition of heaven and earth, and be able to control the power of heaven and earth nearby. This was what a paragon was. All below the paragon level were ants. Paragons were not to be humiliated. These were 2 common sayings in the world. Paragons could merge with heaven and earth and control the power of heaven and earth nearby. Every martial artist was a part of heaven and earth and existed between heaven and earth. If this part of heaven and earth was under their control, how could one fight against them? Of course, there were strong and weak paragons as well. It depended on which type of nomological law one was cultivating. For example, if you cultivated water element, you would be stronger in the sea. For example, if you comprehended the earth element, your combat strength would definitely be stronger underground. Earth, water element, and wind element would be weaker. Compared to light, darkness, time, and space, these elemental laws would be weaker. Naturally, there would be a difference in their combat power. In addition, after some paragons broke through, they would have nothing to do and would start to cultivate other types of nomological laws. They would fuse 2 or even 3 types of nomological laws together. Their combat power would be terrifying. Therefore, there were strong and weak paragons too. But no matter what, they were all paragons. They were the strongest in the world and represented the pinnacle of the martial Tao. They all had pride in their bones. Once they were humiliated, they would not rest until they were dead. The Yu ancestor felt humiliated. Lord Yin came from the immortal region, but so what? They were both paragons. Why would they be afraid of him? The Yu ancestor's eyes burned with the desire to fight. He flew up into the sky. Lord Yin smiled and followed. The battle between paragons was too terrifying. The area affected was too wide. The nearby 9 battles world might not be able to withstand it and might even collapse. Therefore, they left the area to fight. Otherwise, Little White and the others would be killed by the shockwaves. Lord Yu laughed coldly. This Gui ancestor thought too highly of himself. Lord Yin was one of the top 5 in the Eastern region, and he had been following the king of the Eastern region on expeditions all these years. His combat power was well known for its sharpness. Did this old Gui clan thing really think that he could survive a battle between great perfection deities? He thought too much. Kill. Lord Yun and Yu ancestor had left, but Lord Yu and the others would surely not give up. They would kill all the remaining powerful beings first. The powerful warriors were on the verge of tears. Just now, Lu Li's flames had already inflicted more injuries on them. Now, Lord Yu was attacking again. How could they fight on? Most importantly, the East King Pagoda had a powerful suction force. They had to defend against Lord Yu and the others' attacks, and with the East King Pagoda's powerful suction force, they were unable to leave the vicinity. They could only become targets and endure the attacks from all directions. Hee kiki. On the other side, Qi Shishir's melodious laughter could be heard from time to time, affecting their souls. There was no way they could fight this battle. Not to mention the few of them. Even if the number of experts doubled, they still wouldn't be a match for them. Stop attacking. The third elder sighed slightly. After blocking an attack, he shouted, "Everyone, let's talk this out. This time, my Gue clan admits defeat. What are your conditions?" Lord Yu's attacks weakened as he looked at Lu Li. This fight had little to do with them. It all depended on Lu Li. If Lu Li stopped here, they would naturally stop. These powerful warriors listened to Lu Li. Some patriarchs of the Hu race had recognized Lu Li. Seeing so many powerful warriors looking at Lu Li, the patriarchs of the Hu race wanted to die. Even if the Hu race could survive, they would suffer great losses. Didn't Lu Li go to the immortal region? Why did he come back? Why did he bring back so many powerful warriors, including one at the absolute peak conditions? Lu Li thought about it. He was not a bloodthirsty man. If it wasn't for the fact that the Gue race had provoked the god of death, Lu Li wouldn't go looking for trouble with the Gue race. After all, the Gue race had two at the absolute peak. If Lu Li provoked them too harshly, the Gue race might go mad in the future, and the god of death would have a hard time. Little White could not stay here forever. Once Little White left, how could the god of death stop the Gue race at the absolute peak? Wait, soon, Lu Li came back to his senses. He had killed so many patriarchs of the Gue race. They were mortal enemies. Even if the negotiation was successful, the Gue race would admit defeat and leave the god of death alone for the time being. But in the future, they would try their best to destroy the god of death. The Gue race was the overlord of the chaotic star region. What was the most important thing to become the overlord? Strength. The second was prestige. Without prestige, even if the Gue race had strength, it would be easy for the Gue race to decline. It was even possible that the Gue race would be wiped out by other forces. Now that the Gue race had admitted defeat, the Gue race's reputation would be tarnished. The Gue race's position as the overlord would be in jeopardy. Naturally, the other races below the Gue race would want to challenge them. What should the Gue race do if they wanted to keep their position? To wash away the shame and destroy the god of death. Little White could not stay here forever. Even if they didn't dare to act rashly due to the pressure from the eastern region, in a few thousand years, the king of the eastern region might pass away. When the Gue race learned about it, the Gue race would take action. Now that the Gue race had become sworn enemies, there was no need to be merciful. Lu Li should try his best to inflict serious damage to the Gue race, the Hu race, and the Lang Ting race. This time, Lu Li wanted to strike fear into them and cripple them so that they would not be able to fend for themselves. The second to fifth ranked races in the Chaotic Star region were all powerful. Once the Gue race was in trouble, they would be tempted. If those races worked together, the Gue race could be wiped out. Kill them all. On this thought, Lu Li shouted without any hesitation. As soon as Lu Li's voice was heard, Lord Yu and the others acted with full force. Third Patriarch was complaining. These powerful warriors are listening to this Emperor Realm warrior. Is he also from a race at the Eastern region? But why do I feel he is a human? And he looks familiar. Third Patriarch of the Gue race was surprised. The Patriarch of the Hu race next to him was badly injured. Third Patriarch came to his senses at once and said, Lu Li, I will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Lu Li? Lu Li, the inspector of the god of death. It's him. Third Patriarch finally came to his senses. He had read about Lu Li before, but as the third Patriarch of the Gue race, he didn't pay much attention to it. The only warriors of the god of death that caught his attention were the 9 powerful warriors, not to mention an inspector. Lu Li was said to have gone to the immortal region, so he brought these powerful warriors back. They were all from the eastern region? Could it be that Lu Li was related to the king of the eastern region? Many thoughts flashed through his mind. Third Patriarch said, Lu Li, let's talk this out. Tell them to stop. Now that our Gui clan has admitted defeat, you can name whatever conditions you want. Even marrying our young Lady Yuan to you is not out of the question. How about a truce first? Lady Yuan? Lu Li was surprised. Then he sneered and said, nothing you say will change anything. This time, I will not only kill you all, but I will also kill your patriarch you. I will make your Gui race fall into eternal damnation. Chapter 3479. Just as expected, Third Patriarch and the others were all killed. Little White had the East King Tower, Qi Shi's skills, Lord Yu's abilities, and Lu Li's sneak attacks. All of them could be killed even with twice the number of powerful warriors, let alone Third Patriarch and the others. Little White didn't use its heaven-swallowing skill, or else the battle would have been over. Little White had used its heaven-swallowing skill too many times last time, which had hurt its vitality. It was better not to use it again for now. When the last powerful warrior was killed, Little White came out and said with dissatisfaction, Boss, your strategy is so boring. I haven't even done anything. I have been controlling the East King Tower. So boring, so boring. It's fine as long as we can win. This is the easiest and most secure way. Are you only satisfied when we have casualties? Lu Li forced a smile and said, Little White, can you ask Lord Yun for a favor? Tell him to try to kill the Guis at the absolute completion of the Guis race. Of course, as long as they don't cause you any trouble. Ha ha ha. Xiaobai laughed and sent a sound transmission. What kind of trouble can it bring? Just a small Guis race. I know they are on good terms with two major races in the Immortal region. That is to say, they are offering offerings to the two races to maintain their relationship. But the two races are nothing. Don't worry. It doesn't matter if the Guis race is wiped out. Xiaobai thought for a moment and sent a message to Lord Yu. Then, Lord Yu flew away to find Lord Yun and the others to convey Xiaobai's message. Lord Yun was the most loyal subordinate of the king of the Eastern region. He had been with the king of the Eastern region for hundreds of thousands of years. Naturally, the king of the Eastern region doted on Little White. Otherwise, how could a warrior at the absolute completion of the Eastern region be a guard? Not even the king of the Eastern region could force it. Lord Yun was fighting with the Yu ancestor in the void 300,000 miles away. After Lord Yu went to deliver the message, Lord Yun stopped playing with the Yu ancestor. A glint of killing intent rose in his eyes. The battle on the other side suddenly intensified. Lord Yu took a few glances from afar and saw a long, narrow crack that was tens of thousands of miles long in the void, as well as many terrifying holes. He clicked his tongue inwardly and didn't dare to look too long. He quickly retreated. They returned to the Nine Battles realm and waited for Lord Yun's return. Lu Li was anxious, but Little White didn't care. Seeing Lu Li walking around, Little White said with a grin, Big brother, don't walk around. Just wait. Grandpa Yun is one of my father's generals. Ever since he became a great perfection deity, at least 3 great perfection deities have died at his hands. This Gui is really nothing. If you don't believe me, ask Miss Shi. Lu Xiaobai. Qi Shi glared at Xiaobai and said, You promised to call me Shi. Why are you calling me Miss again? Are you looking down on me? How could that be? How could that be? Little White waved his hand and said with a grin, Shi, don't be angry. You look like an angry kitten. Not only is it not scary, but it is also very cute. Oomph. Qi Shi snorted. Then he turned to Lu Li and said gently, Don't worry, Brother Lu. Lord Yun is strong indeed. As far as I can tell, in less than an hour, he will come back victorious. This Gui race warrior will not be able to run away. Lord Yun has a very powerful talent. He is just a little bit weaker than King Dong. Big brother. Little White moved closer to Lu Li again and said, Look at how she is treating me and how she is treating you. Something is wrong. She is calling me Brother Lu. TSK. Big brother, You must stay calm, or else Sister Shuang will kill me. Ha. Luli didn't explain any further. He looked at Little White, amused and annoyed at the same time. Then he sat down and waited quietly. Sure enough, an hour later, a figure floated in. It was Lord Yun. Luli stood up at once and looked at Lord Yun nervously. If the Yu ancestor could be killed, then it would be a devastating blow to the Gue race. Luli believed that the other races would not miss this chance. The Gue race might not be wiped out, but its position as the overlord was in jeopardy. For the next tens of thousands of years, the Gue race would have to fend for themselves. Lord Yun nodded. Luli could finally relax. He bowed and thanked. Thank you, Lord Yun. I, Luli, cannot ever repay your kindness. You don't have to. Lord Yun waved his hand and said, I am doing this for Little White. Speaking of which, thank you for taking care of Little White when it was born. With that said, Lord Yun disappeared again, paying no more attention to Luli. After a while, Luli said with excitement, let's go to the Heyman region and see what is going on. If the 9 warriors of the God of Death can kill the remaining 10 warriors, then we will have one. Before Luli arrived at the Heyman region, Emperor Yin received a message that the fight at the Heyman region had ended. The 9 warriors of the God of Death took action. With a sneak attack, 5 of the most powerful warriors were killed. The remaining 5 had all escaped, but could they escape the pursuit of the 9 great leaders? They were the ancestors of the world of assassins. The 9 warriors chased after the Gue race for half a day and killed 3 of the most powerful warriors. After another day, all the warriors were killed. None of them escaped. The Gue race and the other races had sent over more than 40 powerful warriors. Now, 36 of them had been killed, including the Yu ancestor, who was at the perfect realm. The encirclement had basically failed, and it was a crushing defeat. Only a few warriors close to the perfect realm were left, and of course, the tens of millions of warriors. The God of Death had launched an all-out attack. Countless assassins swarmed out. The tens of millions of warriors would suffer. Faced with the crazy revenge of the God of Death, without the support of warriors close to the perfect realm, the warriors would be wiped out easily. Let's go back to the Tianyuan city. Luli did not have the courage to worry about the rest. Only a few powerful warriors were left. When the 9 warriors of the God of Death took action, they would either have to run away or be killed. Most of the tens of millions of warriors would be killed, and the rest would flee. As for what would happen next, Luli did not worry too much. The God of Death of the Yu ancestor would spread the news and take advantage of the situation to suppress the Gue race. At the same time, the God of Death could contact the other major races to take action against the Gue race. The 9 warriors of the God of Death were shrewd and skilled in such schemes. Therefore, Luli did not have to worry about them. The crisis of the God of Death had passed. How much they could gain would depend on what the 9 warriors would do next. Luli and the others flew toward the Tianyuan region. Half a month later, they arrived. Emperor Yin took them in and flew toward the Tianyuan city. Well, Luli looked down and saw at least 10,000 warriors standing outside the city. The leader was King of Wings. There were many patriarchs and disciples of the Lu Alliance. Luli's family and loved ones were waiting down there. Welcome home, our inspector. When Luli and the others flew down, Monarch of Wings said with a smile. The tens of thousands of warriors bowed and shouted, Welcome home, Inspector Lu. Luli was not excited. The God of Death was doing this because he had made a great contribution and also because of Little White and Qi Shi. This was a necessary gesture. Luli turned to Lu Renhuang and his wives and concubines in the crowd. Luli grinned. It was good to be home. He felt his soul had come back to his mind and he had found his roots. Chapter 3480. Recently, the heavenly chaotic star fields had been paying close attention to the battle of the Grim Reaper. The news spread at a terrifying speed. The entire heavenly chaotic star fields was shaken. At the same time, the scouts of the Grim Reaper in the heavenly chaotic star fields began to spread the news that the Gu ancestor had been killed along with more than 30 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm. When the news spread, the major forces in the heavenly chaotic star fields first thought that it was a rumor. The Grim Reaper was very powerful. However, the Grim Reaper only had 9 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm. It was understandable that they could kill more than 10 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm. To kill more than 30 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm in such a short period of time, including one at the Great Perfection Realm, was like a joke. More and more news came. The scouts hiding nearby and the Lang Ding tribe of the Hu race all confirmed the authenticity of the news. On the other hand, the Gue race was also in a mess. The Gue race was in chaos, and the countless experts and armies of the Gue race outside had begun to retreat. The armies gathered outside the Grim Reaper's territory began to collapse. With all kinds of news, even a martial artist in the heavenly chaotic star fields could not believe it. The Gue race did not refute the rumor, which meant that one of the Gue race's Great Perfection Realm experts was indeed dead. A few days later, the Grim Reaper sent out an announcement. It said that the Grim Reaper had successfully defeated the army and experts that had surrounded the Grim Reaper. He had successfully killed 38 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm and 1 expert at the Great Perfection Realm. The Gue race was cruel and overbearing. They had repeatedly bullied the smaller forces and races. The Grim Reaper had summoned all the major forces and races in the heavenly chaotic star fields to join forces and destroy the Gue race. The official news was out. It was a solid piece of evidence. Moreover, the Grim Reaper had summoned all the races to join forces and fight against the hegemony of the Gue race. This news caused a sensation in the heavenly chaotic star fields. The Grim Reaper had made many enemies over the years. What about the Gue race? They had made even more enemies. The reason why an overlord could become an overlord was that they could only prove their strength by suppressing other races. The road to becoming an overlord was a bloody road. It was a road of corpses. Countless races had been suppressed and destroyed by the Gue race over the years. The Guis had always been strong. Those who had been suppressed, bullied, and attacked didn't dare to act rashly. They could only admit defeat and hide in some corner, shivering. Once the Guis became weak and there was an opportunity, countless other races would emerge from the shadows like poisonous snakes, biting and devouring the Guis one bite at a time. Furthermore, beneath the Gue race were the 4 great races. These 4 great races had always been suppressed by the Gue race and had been waiting for an opportunity. Now, it seemed like the opportunity had arrived. The Duons reacted quickly. The first thing they did was to retreat. They even gave up on some of the resource realms they controlled. They only guarded the 18 realms around the Nightmare Realm. These were the core realms of the Duons and the largest resource realms. In addition, the Gu race sent out a notice saying that they wouldn't rest until the Grim Reaper was dead. At the same time, they also sent this news back to the Immortal Domain, saying that reinforcement from the Immortal Domain would arrive soon. Any large clan or force that dared to oppose the Gue race would suffer the Gue race's bloody revenge. As soon as this announcement came out, it proved that Death's announcement was real. It also stopped many large clans that were ready to make a move. It was true that the Gue race had a good relationship with a few large clans in the Immortal Domain. Young masters and young mistresses from the large clans in the Immortal Domain often came to the Gue race to play. The Gue race would even bring those young masters and young mistresses everywhere, as if they were afraid that no one would know that they had a backer. No matter what, at least the Gue race wouldn't dare to make a move in the short term. The Grim Reaper's crisis had been completely resolved. Moreover, the Gue race had become a delicious piece of meat. They were being eyed by countless tigers and wolves. They could be attacked by a group at any time. The Grim Reaper's strength had shocked the entire heavenly chaotic starfield. In the past, it was only said that the 9 leaders of the Grim Reaper were not afraid of Great Perfection Realm experts when they joined forces. Now, they could kill Great Perfection Realm experts, and they could easily kill more than 30 experts who were infinitely close to Great Perfection Realm experts. In the eyes of many forces, The Grim Reaper had become a force that they couldn't afford to offend. Their ranking had also skyrocketed, becoming one of the top 10 forces in the heavenly chaotic starfield. All the leaders of the Grim Reaper had returned. At the moment, they gathered at the Lu Mansion to pay their respects to Lu Xiaobai and Qi Shifu. Little White didn't meet them. To him, the 9 leaders of the Grim Reaper were just small fries. He didn't care about them. He was with Lu Ling, by Xia Shuang, by Qiu Xue, and Jiang Qiling. The girls surrounded Little White. By Xia Shuang and Little White were particularly close. When Luli didn't have time to take care of Little White, he would stay with by Xia Shuang. Sister Shuang, I can't eat anymore. I can't eat anymore. Sister Shuang, don't touch my head all the time. I have grown up. Sister Shuang, don't smile at me like this. You're not my mother. Okay, I am wrong. Sister Shuang, don't hit me. I am wrong. I will kowtow to you. In the backyard of the Lu Mansion, Lu Ling and the others were watching with a smile. Even though Little White had become a human being, he was still a clown. Given the relationship between Little White and Lu Li and the girls, everyone felt Little White was not the high and mighty young master of the Eastern region. Instead, he was more like their naughty and immature brother. Looking at the girls, Little White's eyes were filled with tenderness. This was not love between a man and a woman. It was more like the affection between children and family. In the immortal region, apart from his old-fashioned father, he didn't see anyone else as family. Lord Yu and the others were nice to him, but he still felt there was a barrier between them. Only Lu Li, Lu Ling, and Bai Xiaoshuang could make Little White feel the warmth of family. At this moment, Little White didn't even want to go back. He just wanted to live here forever until he grew old. Little White, tell me the truth. Bai Xiaoshuang took a bite of a spiritual fruit and asked with a smile, Is that Miss Qi sure your lover? I think she looks at you differently. Nonsense. Little White rolled his eyes and said, No, I have nothing to do with her. She is here for Patriarch. Little White almost spilled the beans. He stopped at once, but Bai Xiaoshuang sensed it. She glared at him and said, Tell me the truth. Don't try to lie to me. You're not honest at all. Tell me, or I will pull your ears. I really didn't. Xiaobai shook his head and said, I am different from her. She is a beast, and I feel that I am a human. Humans and beasts are not on the same path. Yes. Sister Shuang, you have to keep a close eye on her. Don't let her seduce boss. Bai Xiaoshuang and the others instantly grew nervous. Qi Shi was very beautiful, and she was also the young clan chief of the Profound Realm. Her battle prowess was very high, and most importantly, the Celestial Foxes were known for their peerless charm arts. If she really tried to seduce Lu Li, there was a 90% chance that Lu Li would fall for her based on his resistance to beauty. All right, don't speak ill of others behind their backs. Miss Shi has done us a great favor, Lu Ling said. Then she stood up and said, Little White, the 9 warriors of the Grim Reaper have been waiting to see you. Don't let your boss deal with it alone. Go out and meet them. All right. Little White stood up and said, Let's go, Sister Ling. I'll help you vent your anger. If the Li family doesn't kill their useless young master, I'll help you destroy the Li family. How dare they bully my sister Ling? They're courting death. Chapter 3481. In the main hall of the Lu Mansion, Lu Ranwang, Lu Li, and Qi Shifu were sitting. The 9 warriors of the Grim Reaper, Emperor Yin, and other powerful warriors were all here, chatting with a smile. Only Little White was absent. Lord Yu and one of Qi Shi's subordinates came, but they were indifferent. Naturally, Lord Yin could not be here. Luli had already arranged for Lord Yin to stay in a castle. Qi Shi's warriors were settled down as well. The 9 warriors were all here today. The one they wanted to see the most was Lord Yin. Unfortunately, Lord Yin would not see them. Naturally, he wanted to see Qi Shifu and Little White. However, after sitting here for an hour, Little White still hadn't shown up. Qianqian was here as well. Luli waited for a while, but Little White still didn't come out. He said with a frown, Go and get Little White. He is so immature. It's okay. Emperor Yin waved his hand. The other warriors smiled to show that they didn't mind. It was okay for the young master of the eastern region to put on airs. Little White's identity and status were clear. He could put on airs in any major family in the 8 galaxies, let alone the Tianyue city. Others would have to smile at him. He is so immature. Please forgive him. Lu Li's attitude was good. He didn't become arrogant just because he had made great contributions in his relationship with Little White. His foundation was in the Grim Reaper, and the future development of the Lu family depended on the Grim Reaper. Naturally, he could not fall out with the Grim Reaper. Russell, not long after Mo Qianqian left, 3 people came in. It was Little White, Lu Ling, and Mo Qianqian. Little White didn't look happy. He walked in without a trace of smile. Greetings, young master Little White. The 9 magnates, Sovereign Yin, and the others quickly stood up and took the initiative to salute Whitey. Little White glanced at them, but didn't respond. Instead, he turned to Lu Ling and said with a smile, "Sister Ling, take a seat." The 9 warriors were embarrassed by Little White's attitude. Lu Li wanted to scold them, but he knew that Little White was going to stand up for Lu Ling. He thought about it and didn't say anything. He just introduced Little White. These are the 9 leaders of the Grim Reaper. This is Emperor Li. This is Emperor Yi. This is Emperor Yi. This is Emperor Yu. This is Emperor Mo. Lu Li introduced them to Little White. Little White just nodded and then sat down below Lu Li and Lu Ling. He picked up his cup of tea and drank it, still ignoring the 9 powerful warriors. "Sirs, please take a seat." Lu Li said to Emperor Li and the others awkwardly, "Little White is a bit cold. Please don't mind her." "Boss, it's not that I'm cold." Little White put down the cup of tea and coldly spoke. "It's because your personality is too good. You fought bravely in the immortal realms, risking your life to protect the young elites of the Grim Reaper. Once the situation stabilized, you immediately rushed back and even helped the Grim Reaper resolve the calamity. You have a good heart, but how did your Grim Reaper treat you? If we hadn't rushed over, your Lu family would have been destroyed, right? If you ask me, what's the point of staying in this broken place? Move your entire Lu clan to the immortal region, and I'll give you half of the eastern region. You can do whatever you want with it." Little White's words changed the 9 powerful warriors' expressions. They felt they were on fire. Xiao Bai was basically pointing at their noses and scolding them, saying that they were ungrateful. "Little White, what are you talking about?" Lu Li pretended to be angry. "I'm indebted to the Grim Reaper. This is just a small misunderstanding. It's not that serious." King of Wings added, "Yes, young Master Little White, don't get me wrong. Lu Li has always been valued by us, and the Lu Alliance has always been one of the most important forces of the Grim Reaper. There must be some misunderstanding." "Yes," King of Feather added, "Young Master Little White, if there is anything you are not happy about, just tell us. We will take it seriously." "Misunderstanding?" Little White squinted at them. All of a sudden, he slapped the table and said, "That Li Gu? How dare he force me to marry my sister Ling? Is he worthy of marrying my Lu Xiaobai's sister? Let him come over and show me what kind of person he is. How about I ask him to come over with a sedan chair and drag my sister Ling back to the Li family?" Swish, 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 Emperor Li pulled a long face. He had heard about this, but did not pay much attention. Back then, when the enemy was invading, he did not have the time to deal with this. If Little White had pointed it out, Emperor Li would have taken care of it. However, Lu Xiaobai had said it in public and lost his temper. This made it difficult for Emperor Li. Was he going to deal with the Li Gu in public? That would be a great blow to the prestige of Emperor Li and the Li family. Oh, before Emperor Li could say anything, Emperor Mo, the second of the 9 powerful warriors, spoke. Emperor Mo glanced at Emperor Li and asked, "Really? How lawless? Emperor Yin, what is going on?" King of Feathers said at once, "If this is true, then he must be punished severely. Emperor Yin, you are in charge of the Hall of Law Enforcement. Is this true?" King of Wings was the third to speak. Emperor Yin stepped forward. Throwing a glance at Emperor Li, he said, "Lords, this is true. It is Patriarch Gu Ding's betrothal gift. Summon Li Gu Ding." Before the other experts could speak to Little White, Emperor Li slammed the table and shouted, "Lawless, please wait a moment. I will personally investigate this matter. If it is true, I will punish him severely." Emperor Li calmed down after hearing the words of the powerful warriors. He understood that he had to be decisive this time. If he did not give Lu Xiaobai an explanation today, not only would death be in trouble, but he would also miss a great opportunity for development. A rich young master of a family was nothing, and neither was an elder. As the leader of the 9 powerful warriors, Emperor Li knew that death's benefits were the greatest. Without everyone, there would be no small family. If death developed well, the Li family would benefit the most. Soon, Li Guding arrived. Emperor Li slammed the table and asked, "Li Guding, did you send betrothal gifts to force Lady Ling to marry him?" Li Guding had received a secret message before coming and knew what kind of situation it was today. He knelt on one knee and admitted his guilt happily. He said, "Tribe King, please don't be angry. This matter is Guding's fault. Li Gu admires Lady Ling, but knows that he is not worthy of her, so he begged in every way. Guding was muddle-headed and made a grave mistake. Please punish me severely, king and lords." "Bastard," Emperor Li bellowed. "Emperor Li, take Guding away and capture that good-for-nothing Li Gu as well. Drag him out of the city and kill him. Cremate his body. He cannot be placed in the ancestral shrine of the Li family." Cruel. Everyone was stunned by Emperor Li's punishment. They had thought that Emperor Li would only imprison 2 people or something. They didn't expect that Emperor Li would order them to be killed without even leaving their bodies. Family patriarch. Li Guding's expressions changed. He kowtowed and wailed, "Family patriarch, please forgive me. I don't want to live. I just want my body intact. Let my memorial tablet be placed in the ancestral shrine. Family patriarch, please have mercy. *T. This is a 2-man show as well." Luli was shocked by Emperor Li's cruelty. Now he understood. Just now, he and Little White were performing a 2-man show. Now, Emperor Li and Li Guding were doing the same. They were putting on a show for Lu, Li, and Little White. Little White might not care, but Luli had to. Unless he didn't want to stay in death anymore and wanted to go to the immortal region, he could pretend that he didn't see it. "Emperor Li." Luli stood up, cupped his fists, and said, "Patriarch Guding was muddle-headed for a moment. This punishment is too harsh. I think we should let him go back and reflect on his mistakes for a few thousand years. It is not easy to train a powerful warrior. It is the greatest virtue to admit one's mistakes and correct them." Luli had stated his conditions. Li Guding's position as patriarch could not be kept. He could be imprisoned for a few thousand years. As for Li Gu, Luli didn't mention it. Naturally, Li Guding would do as Emperor Li said. Drag him out of the city and kill him without leaving his body behind. Third Master. Chapter 3482. In a castle of the Li family manor, a young master was drinking. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Several ladies were sitting around him, serving him carefully. They knew very well that this young Master Gu had a bad temper. One wrong move, and they would be killed. Recently, Li Gu was in a bad mood. He was forbidden to go out by the family. He had to stay here and drink to drown his sorrows. His clansmen, who were usually very nice to him, had distanced themselves from him in the past few days. They looked at him as if he was the plague. He knew the reason. Luli was back, and he had made a great contribution. He was thinking of marrying Lu Ling by force. He even said that if Lu Ling refused, he would destroy the Lu family. After Lu Li came to the Grim Reaper, he stole the limelight from the other young masters. The 3 golden flowers of the Grim Reaper all had an ambiguous relationship with Lu Li. Inevitably, the young masters of the Grim Reaper were unhappy. They dared not to do anything when Lu Li was here. Lu Li had been in the immortal region for so many years without any news. Naturally, the young masters began to think about him. Lu Ling's temperament was unique. She was so beautiful that many young masters had coveted her. As the most playboy of the Li family, how could Li Gu not display his prowess? Bang! As he drank, Li Gu became angry. He picked up the wine jar and smashed it on the ground. scaring the nearby maids into trembling. After he smashed it, he vented enough and came back to drink again. Lu Li, one day I will kill you. I will kill you, Li Gu said, clenching his teeth. His eyes were filled with lust as he said coldly, Lu Ling, you cannot run away. I will get my hands on you sooner or later. I will make you beg for death. Rustle, 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 the sound of footsteps came from outside, and an old man came in with a wine jar. His feet stepped on the broken wine jar, making a crisp sound. Li Gu looked up, snorted, and said, Chief Steward, how come you have time to come to my small place? You brought me wine? You were not like this a couple of days ago. Alas, looking at the debris on the ground, Chief Steward sighed. He looked at Li Gu with pity and said, I didn't want to come either, but Family Patriarch gave the order, so I have to come. Family Patriarch? Great-grandfather? Li Gu was startled. He asked in puzzlement, Great-grandpa asked you to bring me wine? What's going on? Li Gu was very clear that this great-grandfather of his usually did not even look at him in the eye. He would at most see him once a year. In his great-grandfather's eyes, he was an insignificantly family disciple. He did not expect the chief steward to send wine to him. Something's wrong. His eyes suddenly narrowed as he saw the pitiful look in the chief steward's eyes. He shuddered and asked, Chief Steward, what happened? You guys can leave first. The chief steward waved his hand, and the maids hurriedly walked out. The chief steward shot out a few streams of light and activated the castle's divine runes. Li Gu was completely frightened. He hurriedly got up and asked, Chief Steward, what are you doing? Young Master Gu. The head chief steward sighed slightly and said, By the order of the clan king, I will bestow you a cup of wine. You go in peace. The clan will take care of your wife and children for you. Li Gu's body was trembling. His eyes were wide open as he asked in disbelief, Why? I didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes I might be muddle-headed, but I did not violate the laws of the clan. Why does great-grandpa want to kill me? I don't believe it. I want to see great-grandpa. I want to see my father. You did not do anything wrong. The chief steward said, But you have offended someone you should not have. In order to appease his anger, the clan king had to do something against his will. I hope you can understand. Lu Li? A glint of hatred rose in Li Gu's eyes. Then, he asked in confusion, Has Lu Li become a consummate warrior? Why should great-grandpa be afraid of him? If I die, what prestige will the Li family have? I still don't believe it. This is not an order from great-grandpa. Buzzing, the chief steward took out a jade talisman. Li Gu's face turned pale as soon as he saw it. He collapsed to the ground, panicking. He murmured in disbelief, How can it be? How can it be? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Where's father? Where's grandpa? I want to see them. They will not come to see you now. The chief steward squatted down and said, Young Master Gu, there is no turning back now. If we can stand the pressure, the clan king will not embarrass himself. This is not only for the clan, but for the entire Grim Reaper. How powerful is Lu Li now? Li Gu's voice was trembling. He looked up at the chief steward and said, Lu Li is so powerful that great-grandpa has to kill his own great-grandpa to win him over, to appease his anger. It is not entirely Lu Li. The chief steward explained. This time, Lu Li brought back 11 powerful warriors. One of them is a young master of the eastern region. One of them is from the Xian region, and one of them is a consummate warrior. They helped to kill more than 20 warriors of the Duan race, the Hor race, and the Yu race who are very close to the consummate warrior. They even killed a consummate warrior of the Duan race. The crisis of the Grim Reaper was solved by Lu Li alone. The future development of the Grim Reaper will depend on Lu Li. So, whether it is to win Lu Li over or to appease him, you must die. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for provoking Lu Ling. Li Gu finally understood. His body started to tremble. He was not Li Heng. He was just a profligate son. Such a son was most afraid of death. Plop. He dropped to his knees, kowtowed to the chief steward, and said, Chief steward, please spare my life. Please spare my life. From now on, I will not provoke Lu Ling or Lu Li. No. As long as you don't kill me, I am willing to be locked up in our ancestral land forever. I promise you that I will not do anything rash. I will listen to the clan, cultivate and devote my life to the clan. It is useless. The chief steward shook his head and said, "It is not that the clan wants you dead. It is Lu Li who wants to see your dead body. Therefore, if you're not dead, Lu Li will not be happy. This will affect the Li family and the entire Grim Reaper." Bang, bang, bang. Li Gu kowtowed to the chief steward and said, "Chief steward, I have a favor to ask. Please let me see my father and grandpa. If I can see them, I will have nothing to say." "I can't." The chief steward still shook his head and said, "Your grandpa is in closed-door cultivation. This jug of wine was given to me by your father. It is useless to see anyone. Young Master Gu, don't overthink. Drink it. This is good wine. You will be free from all the troubles in the world after you drink it." With that said, the chief steward picked up a goblet on the table and poured some wine. Then he released his powerful qi and energy to suppress Li Gu. Li Gu was only at the initial stage of the Saint King realm, while the chief steward was at the later stage. How could he resist? Amid Li Gu's terrified eyes, the chief steward poured the wine into his mouth. A surge of strange energy circulated in his body and soon entered his soul. Li Gu's consciousness began to fade. I will not accept this." With the last of his strength, Li Gu shouted out a few words before he fell to the ground and died on the spot. Master 3. Chapter 3483. Li Gu died, and he did not die silently. The Li family sent out a notice. Li Gu had committed a serious crime and was secretly executed by the Li family. Even though the announcement didn't state what crime Li Gu had committed, the middle and higher-ups of the Grim Reaper knew exactly why he died. He had provoked Lu Ling and the Lu family. Under pressure from Lu Li, the Li family had to execute him. Several days later, the 9 powerful warriors sent out another announcement. The 9 became 10, and Lu Li was promoted to the 10th. At the same time, the 10 galaxies became affiliated to the Lu family. The 10 galaxies were not like the barren ones in the Heavenland universe. They were all large universes with abundant resources. The amount of resources collected by the Lu family every year would be astronomical. Lu Li didn't refuse. First of all, he did want to spend some years at the Grim Reaper. The Lu family needed time and space to develop, and Lu Meng needed resources and status. Secondly, given his abilities, it was not difficult for him to kill warriors that were infinitely close to the consummate realm. He was about the same as the 9 powerful warriors, so it was natural that they were on an equal footing. What was more, he had made a great contribution. The Grim Reaper needed his relationship with Little White. If he were to turn down the reward, then he and Lu Meng would have a hard time at the Grim Reaper. Emperor Li killed Li Gu decisively and repaired the relationship between him and Lu Li. Lu Li was not a narrow-minded man. Li Heng and Li Gu were unhappy with him, and so was Li Guding. But Emperor Li was not an idiot. As the leader of the 9 powerful warriors, Emperor Li would not have a problem with the big picture. How could he be the leader if he was not broad-minded? This matter was considered to be over. The Lu Mansion was also rebuilt. A new huge mansion was built beside the 9 magnates. Patrol Inspector Lu had also become Lu Huang. The Lu family could stand up straight. Lu Renhuang and the others were relieved. They began to plan to mobilize more talented disciples from the Middle King realms. The Middle King realms had a large population and a large number of warriors. By gathering the best talents and sending them to the Grim Reaper for a period of time, they could grow up quickly. It would be more likely for them to reach the Emperor realm. With a large number of Emperor realm warriors, the possibility of Saint Kings would increase as well. It would take tens of thousands of years for the Lu family to develop into a real major family. The talented disciples from the Middle King realms were brought here since they were young. They had no one to rely on in the chaotic universe. Right now, the Lu family had too many resources. It wouldn't be a problem for them to casually nurture tens of thousands of genius disciples. This crisis had made Lu Renhuang and Lu Ling realize that Lu Meng was still too weak. Without Lu Li, The Lu alliance was just a small organization, let alone a large clan. Any late Saint King could easily suppress the Lu alliance. If Luli didn't come back, and Li Gu and Li Guding tried to suppress them, the Lu alliance would be doomed. Lu Renhuang was not talented enough. Lu Renhuang had not reached the Emperor family's realm. He was unlikely. Renhuang had a family. Lu had family. Lu had decided to give up on cultivation and cultivation to Lu family. Li had Lu Ling was Ling families. Li had Rears and Li and family. Li had was to Li. Lu was Li had he was Gu. The 9 warriors have been inviting Lu Li, Little White, and Qi Shi to banquets every day. Little White didn't show much respect, and Qi Shi didn't come out anymore. Lord Yu was sent out to eat and drink every day. Little White, Qi Shi, Mo Qianqian by Xia Shuang, Prajna and Qi Shi wandered around. Luli told them not to go too far since the situation was not stable yet. Mo Qianqian was the host, and she wanted to play matchmaker with Lu Xiaobai and Qi Shi. Also, now that she was Lu Li's woman, she wanted to blend in with Lu Li's wives so that she could marry into the Lu family openly. Lu Li didn't mind them and focused on the internal affairs of the Lu family. After Lu Li expressed that he was going to a Middle King realm, Emperor Yin requested to lead a team to take Lu Renhuang and the crippled Zen master back. A group of elites from the God of Death would go with them to make sure nothing went wrong. On the other hand, the 9 warriors have been asking if they could expand the results. For example, they could ask the warrior at the consummate realm behind Little White to join forces with the other races to destroy the Dun race. Lu Li refused. Lord Yin was not his fighter. Besides, even if he could persuade Little White, Lord Yin might not do it. Warriors at the consummate realm had their pride. Unless the king of the East region gave the order in person, they would not be used by the God of Death. Lord Yin made a move just to repay Lu Li for taking care of Little White. Lu Li suggested to wait and see. The Dun race had suffered a great loss, and their reputation was ruined. Enemies of the other races and the Dun race were eyeing covetously. However, they were afraid of the Dun race's allies in the Immortal region. What if the allies of the Dun race didn't come? In that case, after a period of time, there would definitely be large clans plotting something. There was only one overlord. Once the Dun race was destroyed or the Dun race was taken over, the race that would rise to the top would reap great benefits. When one fell, many others would be full. The Dun race occupied the most prosperous place in the Chaotic Star region. The resources and wealth that the Dun race had accumulated over the years made many other races jealous. The most important was the overlord position. Any race that could rise to the top would have the foundation for generations to come. The second most powerful race, the Gang race, had 2 consummate warriors as well. One of them had just made the breakthrough not long ago. The Gang race was powerful. The only shortcoming was that they had very few disciples, only about 3,000 in total. The Gang race was also the race that had the most hope to rise to the top. The Gang race sent a message saying that they would send a messenger to discuss the alliance with the God of Death. The messenger was already on his way. The God of Death also wanted to be the overlord, but the 9 powerful warriors and Lu Li knew that was just wishful thinking. The overall strength of the God of Death was still too weak. Unless the 10 powerful warriors could become 20 or even 50, then there would be a chance. After this battle, some old demons had expressed their willingness to join the God of Death. Some of them hated the Dun race, so it was difficult for them to join any force. Now that the God of Death had defeated the Dun race, they naturally wanted to join. They wanted to see if they could work together to destroy the Dun race. The 9 powerful warriors and Lu Li gathered together for a discussion. They decided that the God of Death would recruit a large number of powerful warriors and expand their territory at the same time. But there would always be only 10 powerful warriors. The new ones that were infinitely close to the consummate level would be appointed as great patriarchs. They would receive better benefits, but the positions of the powerful warriors could not be increased. The old demons that were to join were complicated and their personalities were unclear. What if they were to ask some of them to join hands and seize power from within the God of Death? By then, the god of death would not be able to expand. Instead, there would be internal strife. Half a month later, the powerful warriors of the gang race came to negotiate with the god of death about the alliance. Before they could finish, the Dun race made another announcement. Reinforcements from the immortal region would arrive in 3 months. By then, they would launch a war of revenge against the god of death. Third Master. Chapter 3484. Inside a castle in Skyleap City, 2 gang tribe elders and 2 death god tribe bigwigs were discussing the details of the alliance. At this moment, a steward walked in and informed the 2 bigwigs of the Gue tribe's announcement. After the feathered sovereign read the letter, he tossed it to the winged sovereign. The winged sovereign then tossed the letter to the 2 elders of the gang tribe. When the gang tribe elders saw this, their expressions changed slightly. They then transmitted their voices to each other. Finally, the gang tribe 4th elder said, "The alliance between our 2 factions will continue. However, this alliance will only take place after 3 months. Feather Emperor and Winged Emperor, please forgive us. Of course, when the Guis attack you in 3 months, we will think of a way to help you secretly." The winged monarch nodded. This was his intention when he gave the letter to the 2 elders. The 2 grand elders would learn of the Gue tribe's announcement sooner or later. Rather than hiding it, it was better to let them see it openly. They were already very satisfied with the gang tribe elders' attitude. The Steel Clan didn't dare to clash head-on with the powers of the immortal realms. If the Grim Reaper could withstand this wave of attacks, then the Steel Clan would join forces with the other races to attack the Gue clan, completely annihilating the Gue clan. After chatting for an entire afternoon and discussing the details, the gang tribe's experts quietly left. Emperor of Feather and Emperor of Wings found the other powerful warriors and called Lu Li over to discuss the message from the Guam race. Clearly, this notice should be real. The time stated was within 3 months. If the reinforcements from the immortal realms didn't arrive within 3 months, the Gu clan's face would be swollen. The Gang clan and the other powers would join forces to attack. Having reached this conclusion, the 9 powerful warriors all turned to Lu Li. Now that Lu Li seemed to have become the backbone of the Grim Reaper, Lu Li was the one who had to make the decisions. Lu Li pondered for a moment and said, "When the experts from the immortal region come, we will go up against them. Under normal circumstances, when the experts from the immortal region see Little White and Chi Shifu, they won't dare to do anything. Even if they mess around, we're not afraid." Little White had said that the Gue race had 2 allies in the immortal region. Judging from Little White's tone, these 2 allies were not a big deal, so Lu Li was not worried. As long as they could deal with the 2 reinforcements from the immortal region, the Gue race would no longer be a threat. Once the Gue race was defeated, the only thing that awaited the Gue race was destruction. The 9 leaders decided on 2 strategies. The first was to send a large number of elites to the Gue race to investigate the situation. The second was for Lu Li to contact Lu Xiaobai and Chi Shifu to discuss a strategy to deal with the reinforcements from the immortal region. Little White and Chi Shifu were still playing nearby. Lu Li asked the Patriarch of the God of Death to tell them to come back. For days later, Little White came back. Lu Li told them about the situation. Little White and Chi Shifu looked at each other. Little White said, "If it is the 2 major families of the northern region, then it will not be a big problem. I remember that the Gue clan's backers should be the 2 large clans in the north. Last time in the Lonely Emperor realm, there were elders from those 2 clans." Lu Li asked, "Are there any at the consummate level of the 2 races? If so, will their paragons come?" "Yes, Lord," you said with certainty. "There are 2 Paragon realm cultivators from these 2 great clans. Even if they come, only one of them will come. Moreover, they won't dare to show themselves even if they see the young lord here." "That's good." Lu Li was relieved. He said, "We are not going to start a war with the forces from the immortal region. We just need to make them leave. As long as they leave, we don't have to do anything to the Gue race. The other major families in the Chaotic Star region will hear about it, and destroy the Gui race. "Don't worry," Little White said carelessly. "I can't say for the major families in other places. But now, the major families from the immortal region won't dare to do anything to me. They won't even dare to do so." Luli was relieved. There was no need to worry about the Gui race. As long as the major families from the immortal region left, the Gui race would be destroyed. As long as the Gui race was destroyed, the god of death's position in the chaotic star region would be completely stabilized. Of course, Luli began to make some arrangements. For example, he had all the disciples of the Lu Alliance spread out to the 10 universes. The core disciples of the Lu family were spread out as well. In case something went wrong, they would have an emergency plan. Luli was not particularly worried. The king of the eastern region had just washed the origin region with blood and shocked the entire immortal region. Now, let alone the major families of the immortal region, even the other realm kings wouldn't dare to cause trouble for Little White. It was easy to kill Lu Xiaobai, but the price would be the destruction of the entire clan by the king of the eastern region. No one could afford to pay such a price. On the other side, the entire chaotic star region was bustling again. The major families of the immortal region were about to descend. This was a good show that had not happened for many years. The immortal region was the center of the world. Compared to the immortal region, the chaotic star region was a rural area. The major families of the immortal region looked down on these poor and remote places. They had never come to the 8 major starfields to fight for territory. Of course, some of the major families of the immortal region were attacked. They could no longer survive in the immortal region. That was why they fled to the 8 major starfields. They accumulated power and slowly developed. One day, when they were strong enough, they would return to the immortal region. The battle for supremacy. The major forces of the chaotic star region knew very well that the battle in 3 months would determine the position of supremacy. If the Gui clan won, then their position would be as stable as Mount Tai. Maybe the Gui clan would take the opportunity to massacre the other major families to stabilize their position. If the Gui clan lost, then they would lose their position as the overlord. They might even be attacked by other groups. Not only would they not be exterminated, but they would also lose their current territory. They could only go to other places and find some secret grounds to survive, or leave the chaotic star region. The chaotic star region was some distance from the immortal region to the chaotic star region. If they relied on warships, they would not be able to arrive in 3 months. The only explanation was that the 2 major families and the Gui clan had built a super teleportation array. They could teleport directly or transfer to the chaotic star region. Countless scouts were mobilized to the outskirts of the Gui clan's territory and the Grim Reaper's territory. They were waiting for this shocking battle. The Grim Reaper was actively preparing for the battle. At the same time, he had prepared some backup plans in case of failure. 3 months was a short time, but in the hearts of the major families of the chaotic star region, these 3 months were extraordinarily long. It was as if every day they waited felt like a year had passed. Finally, 3 months had passed. The Gui clan's territory was quiet. There was no movement from the Gui clan. Everyone in the chaotic star regions was talking about it. They all thought that the Guis were just bluffing. 5 days later, hundreds of battleships appeared outside the Nightmare Realm. They flew towards the god of death in a formidable array. There are more than 80 experts who are infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm. Many scouts tried their best to find out the situation. Soon, they received accurate information. The Gui clan did not hide their strength at all. As soon as the news spread, the chaotic star region was shaken. The Gui clan was not bluffing. Among the 80 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm, more than half of them belonged to 2 major families. The Gui clan originally had 40 to 50 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm. More than a dozen of them had been killed. This time, almost all the Gui clan had come out. In addition to the elites from the 2 great clans, there were 80 elites who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm. This was a very terrifying force. With the hidden Great Perfection Realm elites, This force could easily sweep through the entire chaotic star fields. Third leader. Chapter 3485. There were 80 warriors that were infinitely close to the consummate realm. Nobody knew how many of them were at the consummate realm. There were only 10,000 warriors, but the god of death felt there were hundreds of millions of them. Everyone in the god of death was in danger. During this time, the chaotic star region quieted down and all attention was on the god of death. If the Gui race won, then many major races in the chaotic star region would be wiped out. The balance of power in the chaotic star region would be broken. The 9 leaders of the god of death went to Lu Li that very night. Instead of sending Lu Li to the Lu mansion, they went there in person. Lu Li gave them 2 words: don't panic. The scouts of the god of death sent the information to Lu Li at once. Little White took a look and was sure it was the 2 major races at the northern region. These 2 clans were the top clans in the northern region, but they wouldn't dare to attack Whitey even if they were 100 times more courageous. Bo had just been killed not long ago, and the master of the northern region didn't dare to say anything. Then, the master of the eastern region went to the origin region. The 2 races wouldn't dare to touch Little White unless they wanted to be wiped out. Of course, maybe the 2 races could ignore Little White and focus on the powerful warriors of the god of death. After all, the Gui race was affiliated to the 2 races. In other words, the chaotic star region belonged to the 2 races. The chaotic star region was their land of resources. The Gui race would offer them many resources every year. The Gui race would suffer a great loss when the Gui race was wiped out. The speed of the warship was very fast. If it flew in a straight line, it would probably arrive in about 2 months. Lu Li seemed to be confident, but the god of death had to make more arrangements. Most of the 9 leaders of the god of death had moved to the base camp. Not many powerful warriors were left at the Heaven Crossing region, and most of the resources had been transferred. On the off chance that the god of death was defeated, the god of death wouldn't be wiped out. Many scouts gathered here. The major races near the Heaven Crossing region had moved as well, fearing that they would be caught in the crossfire. After all, they could come back after the war. The nearby regions were not rich, and the Gui race wouldn't even want them. More than 2 months passed by quickly, and the number of scouts and martial artists who came to watch the battle had reached more than 10 million. Many of the smaller realms were martial artists and scouts, and they were only here to get the information as soon as possible and send it back in time. Hundreds of warships stopped to rest near a small interface on the outskirts of the Heavenly Crossing boundary. The Grim Reaper sent out many warriors as well as Lu Li, Little White, and Chi Shur. 8 powerful warriors that were infinitely close to the absolute completion, and 2 at the absolute completion all came out. Lu Li and Little White appreciated Chi Shur's loyalty. Chi Shur and Little White had become good friends since they had been traveling together. However, they often bickered like 2 little lions fighting with each other. This was a good thing for Mo Qianqian. If a person like Little White were to stick close to him directly, he would definitely run into a wall. He could only slowly dissolve the defenses in his heart and finally conquer him. The 9 magnates followed behind Lu Li and the others. This time, the main objective was for Little White to negotiate with Lu Li to get the experts of the immortal realms to retreat instead of fighting. Otherwise, Lu Li and the others would not be enough, because it was very likely that the 2 great clans of the immortal region would send perfected ones over. Adding the Gui clan's perfected ones, there would be 3 perfected ones. Lord Yun was very powerful, and the full circle deity protecting Chi Shur was not weak either. Even if it was 2 against 3, they would still be at a disadvantage. Even though Lord Yin might not be afraid, it was better not to fight if possible. After all, it would not be good if there were casualties. We will reach the western region in half a day's flight. The Gui clan and the 2 great clans are in the western region. A patriarch explained to Lu Li. A patriarch explained to Lu Li. Lu Li nodded. Little White thought about it and said, "Big brother, you don't have to go." Sure, you don't have to go either. I will go with you, Shu Yun and Grandpa Yu. It's okay. Lu Li smiled and said, We are brothers fighting tigers. If you are in danger, then I am not far from death. Perfected ones will not bother to fight me. Those who are infinitely close to perfected ones cannot kill me. All right, Little White nodded helplessly. Once Luli had made up his mind, he could not change it. He looked at Chi Sure, who said with his eyes wide open, "What are you looking at? Do you think I, Chi Sure, am afraid of the two great clans of the northern region? Even the powerful warriors of the Bay family would not dare to touch me, let alone them. Little White, don't look down on me. I, Chi Sure, am not weaker than you." "You?" Little White pouted and said, "I can pin you to the ground with one hand." "Oh, you think you are fat?" Chi Sure's chi and energy rose. He looked at Little White coldly and said, Come on. Let's have a fight. Let's see if you can pin me to the ground or if I can pin you to the ground. It will be very indecent for you to pin each other to the ground. You two can do it on the bed later," Luli murmured. He put on a bitter smile and tried to persuade them. They were about to meet their enemies, and they were still bickering. They were so funny. Lord Yu and Chi Sure were not worried at all. This was the confidence of the Realm King families. The king of the Eastern region had just shaken the entire immortal region. Who would dare to mess around? The Western region was lively. Dozens of powerful warriors had settled down. Several small races came to greet them. They took out their best things and a group of beautiful girls to entertain them. They were afraid that they would be killed if they neglected their guests. This time, it was true that two powerful races of the northern region had come, second only to the Bay family. The Gui race once had two ancestors who served these two races and became patriarchs. The Gui race would send offerings every year. Naturally, the two races liked the Gui race. This little brother was obedient and showed filial piety every year. Such a little brother must be taken good care of. Otherwise, if he was killed, there would be no more filial piety. This time, the Gui race was in trouble and they had to help. For them, the forces of the Chaotic Star region were small fries. They didn't even need to do anything. They would all be frightened and run away. Report. An order was given. A Saint King of the Gui race walked in. He first bowed to the clan leader of the Nightmare race, and then to the powerful warriors of the two races. Finally, he said, "There's a battleship outside with the flag of the Grim Reaper hanging on it. There are 10 powerful warriors who are close to the Absolute Realm. They will arrive at the Western region in an hour." 10 powerful warriors who are close to the Absolute Realm? The Absolute Realm warriors of the two races didn't appear. The leading patriarchs looked at each other with disdain. 10 powerful warriors who were close to the Absolute Realm dared to come? This Grim Reaper really didn't know his place. The powerful warriors of the two races didn't care too much. They continued to drink and chat. An hour was almost up when the Saint King came to report again. Only then did the powerful warriors of the two races stand up. One of them said lazily, "Let's go and meet the elites of the Grim Reaper." Ha! The group of powerful warriors rushed out of the palace and flew out of the Western region. The powerful warriors of the Gui race followed. They were waiting here for the Grim Reaper to come. Now was the perfect time to wipe them all out. The group of powerful warriors flew out of the Western region and saw a battleship swagger over. The battleship had divine glyphs activated, so they couldn't see the situation of the powerful warriors inside. They didn't care. 80 powerful warriors lined up. Even the clan leader of the Gui race didn't appear. The battleship stopped a few thousand miles away from the powerful warriors. Divine senses swept over. Then, an arrogant voice rang out. This young master was wondering who was supporting the Gui race. "So it's the long hair race and the iron armor race? I'll give you 30 minutes to disappear from this young master's sight. Otherwise, this young master will personally visit your two races." Third sect leader. Chapter 3486. Since the glyph on the battleship had not been opened, only the voice came out. The powerful warriors couldn't tell who it was. However, the speaker's tone was so arrogant, and he even called out the names of the two clans. This caused the experts of the two clans to feel somewhat bewildered. The long hair race was covered in hair. Their hair was also a weapon for attack and defense. Iron armor could be seen from the exterior of the iron armor race. Their muscles were bulging, and one could tell that their defense was very strong even before they transformed. The two races rarely came to the chaotic star regions. Even when some young masters and young ladies came, it was just for fun. They never fought here. Therefore, the two races were unfamiliar with the two races. Even if they had heard of them, they wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. From the tone of the speaker, it was clear that he was familiar with the two races and looked down on them. Not many in the immortal region could look down on them. They were all top races. One of the iron armor race elders snorted. "Who are you? Why are you hiding? Come out and see us. Don't force us to smash your ship. Why don't you try?" The young voice was arrogant again. The glyph on the battleship disappeared, revealing a group of powerful warriors. Lu Xiaobai and Qi Shifu stood on the left and right of Lu Li. Lord Yu and the others stood behind them. The long hair race and the iron armor race looked at each other, and their expressions changed. They looked at each other with bitterness in their eyes. They had guessed it. Now, they were right. The two races were super races in the northern region. They were among the top in the entire immortal region. Only a young master of a king's clan would dare to speak to them in such an arrogant tone. Not even a young master of a Wong clan was this arrogant. The only one who was arrogant recently was the precious son of the Wong clan of the eastern region. What? The elders of the Gui race felt something was wrong. They had a bad feeling when they heard Lu Xiaobai's words. Now, their hearts sank even more when they saw the expressions of the two races. The chief elder of the Gui race asked a powerful warrior of the iron armor race, "Lord Tai Lu, who is he?" "Lu Xiaobai." The warrior of the iron armor race replied, "The only son of the king of the eastern region." The king of the eastern region just washed the origin realm with blood not long ago because an origin realm warrior attacked him. It's him. When the Gui race's grand elder heard of this matter, his expression became even uglier. Why did the son of the king of the eastern region come to the chaotic starfields? And with the Grim Reaper? The woman beside him. That's Qi Shifu, the son of the profound realm's high chieftain, the heaven charm immortal fox. How come there's a profound realm junior clan chief here? The Gui clan's great elder's face was completely drained of blood. They were still very puzzled as to how their great elder had died. Now, he finally understood that it was Immortal Domain's two great realm young masters who came. These two great young masters must have had great consummate powerhouses following them, and their family's grand elder died without complaint. Great elder! A patriarch of the Guam race suddenly said, "The human in the middle is Lu Li, the inspector of death." I see. All the Gui clan's great elders' doubts were solved. The Eastern Region young master and Profound Realm's junior clan chief were invited by Lu Li. Everything made sense now. The Iron Armor race's elder stepped out from the crowd, cupped his fists, and said, "I was wondering who it was. I didn't expect it to be young Lord Xiao Bai and Lady Shifu. I am Tai Lu, an elder of the third branch of the Iron Armor race." Tai Lu. Lil White glanced at him and continued to say lazily, "Don't you want to smash our battleship? Come on, our shields are all off. You can smash as much as you want. You can also smash me to death along the way." Tai Lu rolled his eyes. This Lu Xiaobai was too arrogant, too arrogant. Even a clay figurine would get angry. Of course, Tai Lu didn't have the guts to smash them. He was silent for a while, and then said in a strange tone, "I have never heard that the chaotic starfields is a subsidiary territory of the Eastern Region." "What?" "Young Lord Xiao Bai thinks that the Eastern Region is not big enough. So you want to take over all the other starfields? Does the king of the Eastern Region know about this? I'm going to take over the chaotic starfields." "What? You don't like it?" Little Bai snorted and said, "Does this territory belong to the Iron Armor race? If it does, I will take it from you. As for my dad, he doesn't care about my business, so you don't have to worry about my dad's attitude. If you don't like it, let's fight. I, Lu Xiaobai, will fight the Iron Armor race alone." Little Bai's words became more and more arrogant, but in the ears of Tai Lu and the long hair race, it was very sarcastic. Alone? Even if you were alone, the two races wouldn't dare to fight with you. If you hurt this young lord, the king of the eastern region would be furious. That's right, the king of the eastern region wouldn't care about Lu Xiaobai's business. This wasn't the king of the eastern region's intention, but what could they do if Little Bai wanted to take over their territory? Fight with Little Bai? Or imprison Little Bai? Once the war started, the king of the eastern region would probably bring experts to destroy the two races' bases. There was no other way. Tai Lu and the long-hair race expert sighed. They exchanged a few glances and conversed. Tai Lu said again, "Mr. Little Bai, you have to be reasonable. The celestial region has its own rules, and the 8 galaxies have their own rules. How about this? Let's forget the grudge between you and the Gui race. Let's mind our own business." Ha ha. Little Bai sneered and shook his head. What rules does the celestial region have? Why don't I know? Are they not allowed to kill the Realm King, or are they not allowed to fight the North and the East? The rules of the Chaotic Star territory are even more ridiculous. Only you can help the Gui race, and we can't help the Grim Reaper? There's nothing more to say. Either you go back to the celestial region and stay out of the Chaotic Star territory's business, or you fight with me, Lu Xiaobai. If you can kill me, you're good. If you can't, I'll go back to the east and ask my dad to destroy your two races. Let's see if the Bei family dares to help you then. Hiss, hiss, Tai Lu and the long-hair tribe's experts all sucked in a breath of cold air. This was completely unreasonable. Just because he had a powerful dad, he could act like a tyrant and take the territory of the Chaotic Star territory by force. If they left, the Gui race would be finished. Who would respect them in the future? It would be painful to lose this benefit. But what could they do? Fight? They didn't have the guts. The king of the East had just killed a realm king. He wouldn't mind going to the northern region to make a name for himself. This dying sky, swallowing beast was looking for an excuse to do something. If they attacked Little Bai, they would be asking for trouble. Also, could they kill Lu Xiaobai? The East and Mysterious Realms would have 2 great perfection realm cultivators with them. 3 against 2 might not win. Even if they could kill Lu Xiaobai, they couldn't bear the consequences. Young master of the East, how arrogant you are. At that moment, there was a ripple in the air. The king of a nightmare race appeared, holding a golden spear. He stared at Little Bai and said, "This is the Chaotic Star territory, not the celestial region. If you insist on forcing our Gui clan into a corner, then this king can only fight you to the death, a life and death struggle." Third leader. Chapter 3487. The clan leader of the Gui race didn't want to come. Luli didn't have any complete warriors, and it would be shameful for him to come out. There were many scouts lurking in the nearby void. The situation here would quickly spread out. They knew there were many scouts here, but they didn't drive them away. Instead, they hoped there would be more. But now, they wished they could kill all the scouts. If Luli had agreed to Tai Lu's proposal, the clan leader of the Gui race wouldn't have come out. Both sides would take a step back and keep to the status quo. In this case, their prestige would be diminished, but they could still use the Iron Armor race and the Long Hair race to wipe out the Steel race and the other major races. Little White had gone too far. It wanted the Iron Armor race and the Long Hair race to leave. It was forcing the Gui race to a corner. As soon as the 2 races left, the clan leader believed that the Steel race and the other races would pounce on the Gui race like hungry wolves and tear them apart. The arrival of the Iron Armor race and the Long Hair race filled the Gui race with confidence. They didn't make any arrangements. They didn't transfer their elite disciples and wealth. Therefore, once the 2 races left, the Steel race and the other major races would come. The Gui race would be devastated if not wiped out. Not many of them could run away. By then, the Gui race would be reduced from super race to a middle-level one. They would hide in some secret realms and struggle to survive. The Gui race had too many enemies. Those enemies would try their best to find them. The Gui race would not end well. Offending the eastern region meant death, and so did retreating. If so, what else did he have to worry about? If Whitey pushed him too far, he would have no choice but to risk his life to kill Whitey. No! Before Little White could say anything, Tai Lu and a patriarch from the patriarch family said at the same time. Tai Lu felt embarrassed. He touched his head and said, "Deling, we can talk this out. Don't be impulsive." What a joke. If Lu Xiaobai was killed by the clan leader of the Nightmare race in front of powerful warriors of the Iron Armor race and the Long Hair race, the clan leader of the Eastern region wouldn't care. He would vent his anger on the two races. By then, the Gui race and the other two races would not be able to escape destruction. The Origin Realm warrior only seemed to have attacked Lu Xiaobai, but didn't inflict any actual harm on him. The King of the East had bathed the Origin Realm in blood, and even killed the Origin Realm King. If Lu Xiaobai was killed, the powerhouses of the two clans could not imagine how furious the dying heaven-swallowing beast would be. Would it go crazy and massacre half of the Immortal Realm? The Gui Race King was a little embarrassed. He didn't expect his allies to be the first to drag him down. From the looks of it, if he were to make a move, the great perfection deities of the Iron Armor race and the Long Hair race might even try to stop him. In other words, an ally could become an enemy? Ha! Xiao Bai and the others understood. Xiao Bai laughed and looked at the Nightmare Tribe leader disdainfully. You want to fight to the death? You also need to have the strength to do so. You might be the overlord of the chaotic starfield, but in the immortal region, you are nothing. The Nightmare Tribe leader had never suffered such humiliation before. The long spear in his hand lit up, and the energy of heaven and earth fluctuated in all directions. A world-destroying aura immediately spread out. The Gui Race King was only a few thousand miles away from Lu Xiaobai. This distance was no different from standing right in front of him. He was confident that he could kill Lu Xiaobai with one move. Almost at the same time, two auras lit up on the battleship. Lord Yun and the great perfection deity of the mystic realm appeared. The two powerful martial artists flashed and stood in front of Lu Xiaobai and Qi Shifu, respectively. The space behind the Nightmare Tribe leader also fluctuated. Two great perfection deities showed up. One was covered in long hair, and the other had muscles bulging like armor. They were the powerful martial artists of the Iron Armor race. What happened next made the Nightmare Tribe leader furious. The four martial artists all released their powerful auras and killing intent. And their killing intent was locked on one person, all locked on him. The great perfection deities of the Long Hair race and the Iron Armor race had betrayed them. Or rather, they did not allow the Gui Race King to kill Lu Xiaobai, because it would bring disaster to the two races. PFFF, the Nightmare Tribe leader was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. As the overlord of the chaotic starfield, the Gui race had been in the limelight for hundreds of thousands of years. This was the first time they had encountered such a situation and such humiliation. It was also the first time the Gui Race King had encountered such an infuriating situation since he became a great perfection deity. Deling, Tai Lu tried to persuade him again. Peace is the most important thing. Young Master Little Bai is not unreasonable. As long as you make some concessions, I don't think young Master Little Bai will be so ruthless. Little Bai was about to say something when Lu Li stopped him. Lu Li thought about it and said, "How about this? We will take a step back. The Gui race will leave the chaotic starfield. From today on, we will not target the Gui race." Leave? The clan leader and the patriarchs of the Gui race were taken aback. The Gui race had been operating in the chaotic starfield for nearly 1,000,000 years. This was their root, their pride, their countless resources, and their affiliated forces. What would the Gui race have after leaving the chaotic starfield? What was more, where would they go after leaving the chaotic starfield? To go to other galaxies? That would mean they would have to start all over again. The Gui race was famous in the 8 galaxies. They would be targeted wherever they went. If they went to other galaxies, they would have to fight for territory. The major races and powerful warriors of the other galaxies would work together to stop them. By then, they would not be able to fight for territory. On the contrary, they would be under constant attack until their race was wiped out. To the Immortal region? There were many major races in the Immortal region. Almost all of their territories had been divided up. The Gue race could either become the appendages of other races or carve out a piece of territory in the immortal region. There were so many powerful warriors and races in the immortal region. By the time they carve out a piece of territory, more than half of their powerful warriors would be killed or injured. They might be attacked by other powerful races and be wiped out in the end. Luli made it sound easy. Did he want them to give up their territory and overlord position with just one word? Wasn't that a little too optimistic? The thing was, what would happen to them if they didn't leave? If the long hair race and the iron armor race left, the Gue race would be doomed as well. They would die if they moved forward or retreated. The clan leader and patriarchs of the Gue race put on a bitter smile. In their eyes, they were filled with murderous intent. They would die if they moved forward or retreated. As the pride of the super races, they would choose to die a heroic death. The powerful warriors of the iron armor race and the long hair race saw the will to die in the eyes of the Gue race leader and knew that things were not going well. They actually felt a little guilty. They had received the Gue race's tribute for so many years. Now that the Gue race was in trouble, they could not help at all. Instead, they're going to be a burden. Tai Lu quickly transmitted a few words to the long hair race. Then, he communicated with the perfected stage of his clan. After a few breaths' time, he said to the Gue race leader, Deling, how about this? Move your race to the immortal region. Go to the north. The two races will help you establish a foothold and help you conquer a piece of territory. In the future, our three races will form an alliance and advance and retreat together. What do you think? Tai Lu was afraid that the Gue race leader would go crazy and kill Little White. That would be troublesome. They had to stabilize the situation first and bring the Gue race to the immortal region. As for going to the immortal region, the Gue race would have no foundation. They would be at their mercy. Third Patriarch. Chapter 3488. Tai Lu's plan was not bad. After the Gue tribe king heard it, his murderous aura weakened a little. The eyes of the Gue tribe elders also lit up. The biggest problem for the Gue tribe leaving the chaotic starfields was territory. As long as they had a piece of land, the Gue tribe would be able to gain a foothold in no time. Then they would slowly grow and become a dominant force. Going to the immortal region was like walking from the countryside to the city. The biggest problem was that they wouldn't be able to get a piece of land. If the Steel Lu and Long Hair tribe were willing to help them get a foothold, there would be no problem. Plus, the Steel Lu tribe said the three tribes would form an alliance. That would be even better. The Gue tribe had only lost one absolute completion and a dozen near absolute completion, but they hadn't lost much. If they went to the immortal region to get a piece of land, they would be able to get a foothold in a few decades. After a few hundred or a few thousand years, they might become one of the major tribes in the northern region. That would be much better than being a mountain king here in the chaotic starfields. Many of the major tribes in the 8 galaxies had thought of going to the immortal region. Some had gone, but not many could get a foothold in the immortal region. Even fewer could get a foothold there. There were too many major tribes in the immortal region. If a major tribe from the countryside wanted to get a piece of land in the immortal region, the nearby tribes would unite and kill them first. They didn't expect that the Steel Lu and Long Hair tribe wouldn't help them at all. They would even use the Gue tribe as a weapon to attack their enemies. The Gue tribe didn't have a foothold in the immortal region. They could only rely on the Steel Lu and Long Hair tribe. How could the Gue tribe resist the orders of the two tribes? If they went to the immortal region and couldn't come back, they would have to become a spear in their hands and shoot wherever they pointed. The Nightmare tribe leader was silent for a while. He looked at the Steel Lu and Long Hair tribe. After a telepathic exchange, the Nightmare tribe leader said, "All right, we will leave the chaotic starfields. Mr. Bai, I hope you keep your promise and don't kill us. Otherwise, we'll have to fight to the end." Piss off. Bai waved his hand. You can ask around in the immortal region about my reputation. Retreat, the Nightmare tribe king roared and took the lead to fly back, followed by the experts of the Nightmare tribe. The Iron Armor tribe and the Long Hair tribe naturally followed suit. Soon, over 100 battleships flew through the air and left. Whoosh, whoosh, Luli breathed in relief. He had survived this disaster. Once the Gooeys left the heavenly chaotic starfields, the Grim Reaper would be safe. With the Steel Tribe and the Grim Reaper's alliance, the other large tribes would definitely not dare to provoke the Grim Reaper. In the following period of time, the Grim Reaper would have a lot of room to grow. Even if they did not become an overlord, they would still be able to rank among the top few in the chaotic sky star fields. What a pity, Luli sighed. If one or two of the 9 warriors of the Grim Reaper could reach the consummate level, then the Grim Reaper might have a chance to become the overlord. It had been so many years, and none of the 9 giants had reached the consummate level. It was probably impossible for them to break through. This wasn't something that could be achieved with hard work. It depended on luck and opportunities. Generally speaking, 1 in 1,000 warriors at the peak of the Emperor Realm could reach the Saint Emperor Realm, and 1 in 5,000 warriors at the later stage of the Saint Emperor Realm could reach the consummate level. But there was no such thing as a probability to reach the consummate level. If they were lucky, 1 in 10 warriors could reach the consummate level. If they were unlucky, not even 1 in 10,000 warriors could reach the consummate level. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many scouts were hiding nearby. They left at this moment to report back to the other tribes as soon as possible. This was a big deal, a big deal. The Gooeys were going to leave for the Immortal Region. By then, the territories controlled by the Gooeys would be free, which was the biggest piece of meat in the entire heavenly chaotic star fields. Whoosh! 9 rays of light flew over. The 9 warriors landed on the battleship. They bowed to Lord Yun and the warriors at the consummate level of the Xian realm. The 2 warriors nodded and then disappeared. They didn't want to have any more contact with the 9 warriors. The 9 warriors bowed to Lu Xiaobai and Qi Shishir again. Emperor Li said with a blushing face, "Thank you, young Master Bai and Lady Shishir, for your help. We, the Grim Reaper, will never forget. In the future, if young Master Bai and Lady Shishir need help, we will do our best until our last breath." "You are flattering me." Little White waved his hand. He didn't show too much respect to the 9 warriors. He said, "I'm doing this for the sake of our boss. As long as he says the word, I can go back to the eastern region and mobilize powerful warriors. I can help him conquer the heavenly chaotic star fields." Of course, Emperor Li said with a flattering smile. "Young Master Bai can conquer even the 8 galaxies, let alone the heavenly chaotic star fields. It will be a piece of cake. Let's go back." Little White waved his hand. "Lord, you steered the battleship back to where they came from." Emperor Li moved closer to Lu Li and said, "Lu Li, the retreat of the Gooeys is a big piece of meat. Do you think we should go and take a bite?" The other warriors' eyes glowed as well. Emperor Li had spoken their minds. The Grim Reaper used to be an assassin organization. Now, it had transformed into a force. If they could take over the territories of the Gooeys, then the Grim Reaper would be able to grow quickly. In the end, it was possible that they could replace the Gooeys as the overlord. "You must have heard of this saying." Luli shook his head and said, "A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant." The 9 warriors were embarrassed. Luli continued, "First of all, our base camp is at the Heaven Crossing region. The Gooeys' territory is 2 to 3 months away. Unless we give up the territory here, we will not be able to manage it or manage it well. Secondly, Luli emphasized, we don't have any warriors at the consummate level. At the end of the day, we are a second-tier force. What do you think the other forces will think when a second-tier force tries to take over the territory of an overlord? Even if we don't do anything rash in the short term, we will be attacked by others later. By that time, the Grim Reaper will be doomed." Thirdly, Luli added, "The nature of the Grim Reaper is a loose alliance. If you really want to develop into a sect, it's not impossible. But we need time to integrate and build a solid foundation. Therefore, I suggest that we do not take any of the Gooeys' territory. Not even a little bit." The faces of Emperor Li and the others revealed a look of regret. In their hearts, they knew that the territory of the Gooey race was a hot potato. That being said, they were not satisfied. They wanted to take advantage of the reputation of Little White and Chi Shifu to seize some territory. They believed that as long as Little White and Chi Shifu spoke up, the gang race would not dare to say a word. Never mind. King of Wings sighed and said with pity, Lu Li is right. Let's forget about the Gui's territory. Let's develop steadily, or we will be doomed eternally. Ha ha, Lu Li said with a smile. Just because we cannot take the Gui's territory doesn't mean we can't take the territories nearby. You can go and negotiate with the major races and ask them to give up the Gui's territory. Then you can circle some territories nearby. I think the major races will give up their territories without hesitation. Even if it is not their territory, they will take the initiative to help us. That is right. Emperor Li's eyes glowed. The North and East were under the control of the two major races. The Grim Reaper and Lu Li had given up such a large area of interest. The major races would not let it go without making them pay. Master 3. Chapter 3489. The Battle of the Overlords had come to an end. There was no fierce battle, but the outcome was decided. There were at least tens of thousands of scouts hiding nearby. These scouts had seen everything with their own eyes. They quickly spread the news throughout the chaotic starfields. The entire starfields were shaken and then in turmoil. The Gui clan was the overlord of the chaotic starfields. They naturally occupied the best land in the entire starfields. Not only did they occupy it openly, but they also controlled it secretly. They also had countless vassal forces. These forces also occupied a lot of land. According to the statistics of the major clans, 1/10 of the best resource lands in the entire chaotic starfields were directly or indirectly controlled by the Gui clan. Now that the Gui clan was retreating, these lands were basically ownerless. With the Gui clan gone, their vassal forces were probably done for as well. These lands are going to be divided. All the living beings in the world came for benefits, and all the hustle and bustle in the world came for benefits. How could the major clans in the chaotic starfields not be excited with so much land and so much profit? The Gui clan had already begun to retreat. They did not destroy the resource lands or plunder the land. Instead, they gave up their land as fast as they could and gathered in the Nightmare Realm. For the Gui clan, martial artists were their greatest asset. As long as the Gui clan's martial artists were still there, they could conquer a piece of land in the immortal domain. The Gui clan sent a message to their vassal forces, telling them to either follow them to the immortal domain or stay behind. They also said that after going to the immortal domain, the Longhair clan and the Steel Armor clan would help them conquer a piece of land. They would also introduce the Bei clan's elders to them and gain the Bei clan's approval. This was very tempting. After some discussion, some vassal forces decided to follow the Gui clan. If they followed the Gui clan to the immortal domain, they might have a chance to grow. There were opportunities everywhere in the immortal domain. Of course, some clans did not move. They were just vassals in the chaotic starfields. If they followed the Gui clan to the immortal domain, they might be swallowed by the Gui clan. Some clans secretly changed their allegiance to the Gang clan and other major clans. Some clans chose to follow the Grim Reaper. It was all thanks to the Grim Reaper that they were able to force the Gui tribe out of the chaotic starfields. If the Grim Reaper was able to force the Gui tribe out of the chaotic starfields, it meant that the Grim Reaper also had the power of an overlord. The reason why the Grim Reaper could win this time was because of the two young masters and young mistresses of the Immortal Region's superclans. This matter had already spread. No matter what, having such a powerful backer was also a part of one's strength, wasn't it? Didn't the Gui clan also pull out two allies from the Immortal Region? But didn't their allies kneel down when they saw Little White and Chi Shifu? The three leaders of the God of Death arrived at a realm near the Nightmare Realm. They sent out invitations to the top 10 races in the Starfields of Chaos to discuss the Duan's territory. As soon as the invitation was sent out, the 10 tribes in the chaotic starfield became restless. What did the Grim Reaper mean? Send a letter for everyone to gather together and tell everyone that they want to monopolize the Gui race's territory. Or perhaps they wanted the majority of the territory. Weren't they afraid of eating too much? Originally, all the races were gearing up to fight for territory. They were all ready for war. But the Grim Reaper's letter forced them to hold back for the time being. Even the Gui race was defeated by the Grim Reaper. At the moment, they really didn't have the courage to fight the Grim Reaper. The leaders of the top 10 races, or the elders who could represent their races, immediately teleported to the nearby realm and gathered in that realm. Emperor Lee came in person. When the warriors of the top 10 races arrived, he held a meeting in a large manner to divide up the territory. Everyone, Emperor Lee shouted domineeringly and said with a smile, "Everyone, don't be nervous. We are not going to take all of the Gui race's territory." Emperor Lee's first sentence made all the warriors feel relieved. If the Grim Reaper wanted to take all of it, they could only be jealous for a short time and not dare to do anything. Now that the Grim Reaper was being tactful, they were naturally very satisfied. Emperor Lee paused for a moment, and then said something that made all the experts' breathing become slightly rapid. "In fact, if you can pay a satisfactory price, we, the Grim Reaper, will give up the territory of the Gui clan to you without taking a single cent of it." The eyes of the gang tribe's elder lit up. He was most afraid that the Grim Reaper would interfere. The fact that the Grim Reaper wanted to give up all of it made them very excited. The Gui race's territory was the greatest benefit. As long as the Grim Reaper didn't want it, everything else was negotiable. The gang tribe's elder immediately stood up and said, "Emperor Lee, you don't have to keep us in suspense. Everyone is gathered here with sincerity. If you have any ideas, just say them." This time, we were able to expel the Gui race because of the Grim Reaper's efforts. No matter what you propose, it won't be too much. "That's right, Emperor Lee, just say it." "Ah, Brother Lee, we're old friends. What is there to say? What do you want? Just say it." Several of the major races opened their mouths. This time, they were all prepared to fight for territory. Now it seemed that they could negotiate and divide it. If they could come up with a good result, then it would be a happy ending for everyone. If that's the case, then I won't hold back. Emperor Lee smiled and cupped his hands. Then he took out a map and hung it on the wall. He took out a pen and drew a circle on the Grim Reaper's territory. Then he drew a circle that was about 3 times larger toward the north. He said, "The Grim Reaper wants this large piece of territory. As for how to negotiate, it will be up to you all to discuss. As long as you give up this territory, the Grim Reaper guarantees that the Gui race will not take anything." Swish, swish, swish. The expressions of the group of cultivators changed slightly, especially an elder of a large clan, who was even angrier, because the territory that Emperor Lee had marked out was more than half of their clan's territory. Was the Grim Reaper going to swallow them up? The warriors slammed the table and shouted, "Emperor Lee, what is the meaning of this? Are you declaring war on the Huang race?" "Brother Huang, sure, calm down," Emperor Lee explained with a smile. "Everyone should know that this time, the Gui race retreated and gave up about 10% of the entire heavenly chaotic starfields. I don't think one major race can swallow such a large piece of territory. Can they? In that case, I think we can redivide the heavenly chaotic starfields. The 11 forces can divide the entire heavenly chaotic starfields. If the other races don't agree, will they dare to fight us? Even if we join forces, we can win." All the warriors were stunned, and then their eyes lit up. Some warriors were even trembling with excitement. Emperor Lee's proposal was not to divide the Gui race's territory. It was to divide the entire heavenly chaotic starfields. But thinking about it, it was very feasible. If the 11 forces joined forces, they could easily massacre the entire heavenly chaotic starfields. Those who didn't agree would have to be beaten until they agreed, or forced to leave the heavenly chaotic starfields like the Gui race, or annihilated. The cake was getting bigger, dividing the entire heavenly chaotic starfields. This plan excited the 11 clans. If they succeeded, the strength and power of the 11 clans would soar several times. Third leader. Chapter 3490. Emperor Li and the 10 factions plotted for 3 days and 3 nights. Finally, they reached a secret agreement. Then the elites of the 10 factions returned. The Gue race's territory was full of scouts. Such a large movement was naturally monitored. The entire heavenly chaotic starfield was in an uproar. In the eyes of many, the Grim Reaper and the 10 factions were secretly dividing up the Gue race's territory. If the 11 factions had reached an agreement, how could the other factions have a share? Many of the factions that had been coveting the Gue race's territory immediately gave up. If they dared to come and fight for territory, they would probably be attacked by the 11 factions. It seemed that they would not get a share of this big cake. The elites of the 11 factions did not do anything special after they returned. They did not mobilize an army to fight the Gue race's territory, nor did they send troops to attack the Gue race. They all quietly waited for the Gue race to leave. The elites of the 11 factions gathering naturally attracted the Gue race's attention. The Gue race was terrified. They were afraid that the 11 factions would attack them together, so they retreated even faster. Originally, a complete retreat would take at least half a year. There was no time to pack up many resources and treasures. 2 months later, tens of thousands of warships took off from the Nightmare Realm and flew towards the Immortal Region. Keys were needed to enter the Immortal Region. The Gue race had many members. How many keys were needed to enter the Immortal Region? But this was not a problem for the Long-Hair race and the Armor race. This was because the Long-Hair tribe and the Steel Armor tribe had super keys, and each key could bring 1,000 martial artists in. And if they kept going in and out, they would soon bring the entire Gue race in. The elites of the Armor race and the Long-Hair race did not leave. They escorted the Gue race to the Immortal Region. What the Gue race worried about did not happen. The major factions of the Heavenly Chaotic Starfields and the Grim Reaper did not attack. Instead, they saw them off. After the Gue race retreated, there was no battle. Only the Gang race's army entered the Gue race's territory. Moreover, not only did the Gang tribe send their army and experts in, but they had also migrated their entire tribe. Moreover, the Gang tribe had also announced that the Gang tribe would take over all of the Gu tribe's territories. If anyone dared to snatch their territory, the Gang tribe would fight them to the death. The Gang race had originally occupied a large piece of territory. The nearby major factions were planning to divide it, but they did not expect that the other major factions would be faster. As soon as the Gang tribe left, their army and experts moved in. There was also another situation. The Huang clan's army had moved out, sweeping towards the north. Accompanying the Huang clan were countless Grim Reapers, including the leaders of the Grim Reapers. There was a large clan in the north that was ranked 13th. They were all stunned. The Huang race hadn't gone to steal the Gue race's territory, but had instead attacked them? What was going on? Also, why did the Grim Reaper help the Huang race invade them? It wasn't just the Grim Reaper. Many places in the chaotic star fields were at war. The Gang tribe had just taken over the Mastiff tribe's territory, but now they were teaming up with another tribe to attack the 12th ranked tribe. The other two great clans also joined hands to attack one of the great clans. Everywhere in the heavenly chaotic star domain was lit up with the smoke of war. The tribes that were attacked were all dumbfounded. In particular, the major races that were attacking them were all ranked in the top 10. If two major races fought against one of them, they wouldn't even be a match for them one-on-one, let alone two against one. The 11 forces had joined hands. They didn't want to divide the Gue clan's territory. They wanted to divide the entire chaotic starfields. At this point, if the powerful warriors of the chaotic starfields still did not understand, then they would be idiots. Many major races were in a panic. Many sent messages to each other, ready to work together to fight against the 11 forces. Otherwise, at this rate, there would be no place for them in the chaotic starfields. Working together was easier said than done, especially now that the top 10 clans were under attack. These clans weren't particularly strong to begin with, so they didn't have absolute rallying power. The rest of the clans didn't have any rallying power or influence either. The races sent messages back and forth for half a month. Still, they couldn't decide where to meet, the Grim Reaper and the Huang race had penetrated into the territory of that major race. Lu Li didn't take part in this battle, but Lu Xiaobai and Qi Shifu did. They disguised themselves and didn't use their special skills. They were just practicing their skills. No matter how they disguised themselves, they were still powerful warriors that were close to the absolute completion. They were as bright as fireflies in the night sky. Of course, there were too many powerful warriors of the Grim Reaper and the Huang race. 6 out of the 9 powerful warriors were sent out. Many of the trump cards of the Grim Reaper and many Golden Reaper gods were sent out as well. There were assassins everywhere. In half a month, more than half of the powerful warriors of that major race were killed. The major race had to retreat. They didn't dare to stay in the chaotic starfields for fear that they would be wiped out. They had to give up their territory and start over in another galaxy. The Huang race and the Grim Reaper did not stop there. They continued to expand to the north where there were several medium-sized races. Under the pressure of the Grim Reaper and the Huang race, all of them were frightened. They either surrendered or retreated. On the other hand, the Gang race and the Grim Reaper and the Huang race were unstoppable. They defeated a major race easily. The major race surrendered without the Gang race's absolute completion realm warriors being sent out. The Gang race didn't kill them all. They just let the major race leave the chaotic starfields. The entire chaotic starfields was in chaos. Under the pressure of the 11 forces, the remaining major races finally came together and formed a super alliance to fight against the 11 forces. They gave up most of their territories and guarded some with their lives. The 11 forces didn't attack the territories of the super alliance. Instead, they went on to attack other territories. During this time, the chaotic starfields were at war everywhere. Flames of war rose everywhere. The chaotic starfields seemed to have entered its darkest hour. The chaotic starfield are going to be destroyed and rebuilt, Lu Li exclaimed in the new Lu mansion. He felt this was actually better for the chaotic starfields. After this war, the chaotic starfields would be like the barren universe. The power structure would be fixed. There were 33 major races in the barren universe. Here, there would be 11 or 12 forces. Those forces would become the absolute overlords. The chaotic starfields would no longer be in chaos. Actually, the chaotic starfields were in chaos mainly because of the Gue race. In order to maintain their position as the overlord, the Gue race had purposely created chaos in the chaotic starfields to consume the strength of the other races. If one of the major races was about to rise, it would be attacked by the other races. The Gue race was behind all this. Take the Grim Reaper as an example. The Gue race felt that the Grim Reaper was about to rise. Therefore, they wanted to suppress him. Little did they expect that they would run into an iron plate. In the end, not only did they suffer great losses, they were forced to leave their home, and their future was uncertain. Half a year. Lu Li read through the information again. He made up his mind. In half a year, the war in the chaotic starfields would come to a stop. In a year, the chaotic starfields would be completely stabilized. The power structure would be fixed. After this chaos, the Grim Reaper would rise and become one of the super forces in the chaotic starfields. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.